is a presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Detroit.
Tigers baseball on Fox Sports Detroit is presented by
Bell Tire.
Left-hander Matt Boyd has been as consistent as anybody in the Tigers rotation in the second half. A 5-0 record, a 2.45 ERA. And the White Sox. Hi again, everyone. Welcome to Tigers Baseball. Mario and Pemba alongside Rod Allen. Glad to have you with us here for Game 1 of the Sox series. Tigers dropped 2 out of 3 against the Angels. Back to work here tonight. And Matt Boyd on the hill. We talk a lot about Michael Fulmer and Daniel Norris, but Matt Boyd's been pretty good too.
Absolutely, partner. He really has taken the back seat to nobody, especially of the 3 rookies. He's already had a couple of starts this year against the White Sox, and he really hasn't fared all that well. But he's got the new arm slot. We've talked about that. He's having more success. Hopefully a different Matt Boyd tonight against the White Sox will allow him to have that same kind of success he's had lately.
All right, now the White Sox have to be shivering a little bit because of the middle of the Tigers lineup. The 3 guys smack dab in the middle have been awfully good against them.
They've been getting busy, haven't they? I mean, their contact to damage ratio is simply off the chain. And when the White Sox show up, they just really get it going. Take a look at the .431 batting average. That's combined between Miggy, V-Mart, and JD. And it really doesn't matter which White Sox pitcher is on the mound. They have just had their way against White Sox pitching in Chicago, here at Comerica Park, and they've really done it for the better part of their career. For whatever reason, these guys just see the ball very well against the staff, and the staff is really not all that bad. They've got some guys that can really pitch. They've got a Quintana, they've got a Chris Sale, but for whatever reason, these Tigers, the trio we showed you, they get done against these White Sox.
And hopefully the Tigers get it done here again tonight. Game 1 of the series coming up after a short break. We'll send you back to the Coliseum Studios. Check in with Preston Keith. Tonight, the Tigers trying to slow down a familiar face. He's a foe now. Avisail Garcia has put up big numbers against the Tigers. Stay with us. Tiger Sox. Game 1 next. Left-hander Matt Boyd tuning up, getting set to make the start here against the White Sox. Here is the lineup he will face. Presented by the Metro Detroit Chevy dealers. It'll be Adam Eaton at the top, Tim Anderson and Melky Cabrera. Jose Abreu cleaning up. Todd Frazier has been hot in his last 7. Justin Morneau, the DH. Garcia, Avila, and Saladino rounding it out for the Chicago White Sox. And they will face the left-handed slants of Matt Boyd, presented by Family Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Well, Matthew Boyd has been sensational. In his last 7 starts, he's won 5 of those. The ERA sits at 3.98. He's got a fastball that gets up to about 94, average heater 92. He'll cut the fastball. He's got a couple different breaking balls and a nice fading changeup.
And he is ready to go to work. So are we. It's Adam Eaton leading it off for Chicago. Eaton batting at .276 will get it started. Eaton has done some really good work against the Tigers this year, batting better than .420 against Tigers pitching.
If the Tigers are going to have any success the next 3 days, they've got to slow Adam Eaton down.
And the first one is in there for a strike, and this one is underway tonight.
You know, we talked about the Boyd and his recent success, but that's really what he's been doing a lot of first pitch strikes.
Here's a bouncing ball up the middle. Nice stop there by Ibar. Quickly to his feet to throw him out. Ball was headed to center field before Ibar got to it.
Let's take a look at the Tigers starting defense presented by Beaumont Health. Upton, Maben, Martinez in the outfield, Ibar, Kinzer up the middle, McGee, Miggy on the corner, and Saltalamacchia. He's the catcher here tonight. It really doesn't matter who's playing shortstop, whether it be Iglesias or Ibar these days. Both are really dazzling and spectacular with that glove.
Fine play opens up this one. Here is Tim Anderson. And he'll look at a strike on the outer edge.
Anderson loves to swing at first pitch fastballs. Therefore, Boyd started him off with a real nice breaking ball.
Now the 0-1 pitch. Anderson looks at a ball inside. 1 ball and 1 strike. Tim Anderson has hit safely in 18 of his last 20 ball games. He's had a really fine start to his major league career. Checked it, and it looked like he went. He did. Says Angel Hernandez at first base, 1 and 2. Here you go in his last 19 at a .338 clip. Very good defensive shortstop as well. Was called up midway through this season.
Before he came to the major leagues this year, he was known as the Chicago White Sox best prospect.
That is popped up foul back out of play.
Has great range at the shortstop position. He has a really good throwing arm. He has a very quick bat when standing in that batter's box. The hands and the glove work at the shortstop position, there's still some work to be done there, but he has the skill set and the intangibles to do so to get better.
Way outside.
If you don't know by now, Jared Saltalamacchia has caught all of Boyd's starts this year in the major leagues. And therefore, these guys work very well together. Very seldom does Boyd shake off the veteran catcher, Jared Saltalamacchia.
Line to left field, base hit. He left one up, and Anderson slaps it to left. 1 on, 1 out. It'll bring up Melky Cabrera.
It's an off-speed pitch, and Anderson was a little bit out in front. He was on that front foot, as a matter of fact, but the ball being up in the strike zone allowed him to regroup and keep the hands back long enough to get enough of it and to single into left field.
Here is Cabrera, the number 3 hitter, batting .293. Now another solid season this year for Melky.
Melky can just hit, man.
And he looks at a strike on the outside corner.
If you're wondering about Anderson on first base and whether he will run or not, he does have 7 steals. He's only been caught twice. But Boyd being left-handed should slow him down with a better move.
Little looper into shallow right field. JD Martinez not going to be able to get it. Might have a play at second. He's going to be a little bit late. JD with a nice job of faking out the runner.
It really was. And a nice read there as well by Anderson, who was on first base. He went about halfway. And then he realized that JD wasn't going to catch it. He's going to come into your pitcher. and he started taking a few steps towards second base, and that allowed him to get there with a head-first slide. This is the guy that they did not want to pitch to with runners in scoring position. He's been on fire in the month of August.
Yeah, Abreu had his 10-game hitting streak come to an end in yesterday's ball game, but batting .285 overall. In fact, he's been on base in every game this month. Early scoring chance for Chicago. Ball 1 to Jose Abreu. 18 home runs this year. Abreu far off the pace that he's established the first 2 years in the major leagues.
He has grounded into 17 double plays. So if you're Boyd, you can get him to hit the ball on the ground. It will most definitely aid you in getting out of this inning with any damage done.
In there, a strike called, 1-1. Here you go, the month of August, .355 clip with 7 home runs. Last time we saw the White Sox ride, we were just wondering what has gone wrong with Abreu this year.
Yeah, because he was so consistent in his first couple of years in the big leagues coming from Cuba.
Here is Boyd's 1-1. Instead, he'll bluff to second, chasing Anderson back.
And the answer that we got from a lot of people, Mario, is the fact that for the first 4 months of the season, he did not see his son, who was in Cuba. But he has now seen his son a couple of times, and now his son is with him in Chicago. And they say that has made the difference in the world in Abreu and how he's gone about his business the entire month of August. They say he's walking around with smiles on his face and just enjoying being around his family.
Yeah, and that's certainly a big part of life for most people in baseball. But, you know, for Abreu, whose family is in Cuba, much different scenario. And, well, his numbers indicate that he's feeling a lot better. 30 home runs last year, 36 the year before that.
Also drove in 100 runs in his first 2 years in the majors. And the guy that just left town, Albert Pujols, he and Abreu are the only 2 players in the history of the game, to hit 30 homers and drive in 100 runs in their first 2 years in the big leagues. So he's done some special things.
Fouled back out of play, 2-2 on Abreu.
It sounds kind of crazy, but the way that you get Abreu out is you have to go inside and you have to go a tick above the belt buckle. Just about everywhere else, he's a very dangerous hitter, and like most power hitters, if you allow them to extend their arms, they're going to hurt you. But if you go inside and you tie him up, you've got a chance. You see where that 284 is, that 281? Those are the pitches that I'm talking about. You see everywhere else, he does pretty well.
2-2 on Abreu. That'll bounce in and away from Saltalamacchia, but not far enough. 3-2 now.
Yeah, first decision of the game now for Robin Ventura. I mean, you've got a guy in the batter's box, partner that has already hit into 17 double plays. I mean, you got some speed on the base pass. I mean, does he dare start the runners here in the first inning?
Anderson, the runner, at second, and Cabrera at first. They may just try and stay out of the double play here. We'll see if they're on the move. Todd Frazier, another power hitter, waiting on deck. Runners hold, and a swing and a foul. Just got a piece of it. Boyd had 7 strikeouts in his last start, which equaled his season high. He's done that a couple of times, but Matt Boyd's numbers here in the month of August have been really good. A 2.5 ERA. Three and two. And Abreu swings and misses. He struck him out. Good pitch by Boyd, and there are 2 gone.
It's a breaking ball thrown by Boyd. You see it come off the fingertips. It stayed up in the strike zone, but he took just enough of it off at 75 miles an hour to fool Abreu and to get it out in front and to swing over the top of it. Big pitch. He's got one more huge out to get, though.
That would be Todd Frazier, who steps in with his 32 home runs this year. 81 RBIs for Frazier. And he'll look at a breaking ball that drops in, strike one.
And one of the ways the Tigers have pitched Frazier really all season is just about everything away. He's a dead pull hitter, and most of his power is to left field. So when you want to have success against a guy that's a dead pull hitter, you make him hit the ball the opposite way. You don't mind if he gets a single in that direction.
Swing and a miss. 0-2. Frazier has been among the best home run hitters in the American League. In fact, for much of the season, the top home run hitter, but he's fallen off the pace a bit. Mark Trumbo now has 40 to lead the American League.
Comeback player of the year.
Yeah, I think so.
Free agent, too. Gonna cash in.
Cashing in with Baltimore in that ballpark. The 0-2 is fouled back.
It's the same thing Nelson Cruz did a couple of years ago. Couldn't really get a long-term contract, so he stopped over in Baltimore for one season, hit 40 homers, and then he parlayed that into about a 3-4 year deal in the Pacific Northwest for the Seattle Mariners.
And he's still hitting homers. 2 on, 2 out, just underway. We're in the top of the first here at Comerica. Game 1 in a 3-game series. White Sox a couple of singles, one for Anderson, one for Cabrera. And a pop-up, shallow right field. JD Martinez under it. And that'll get Matt Boyd out of the first inning trouble. No runs, 2 hits, 2 left. First, a little bit of a shakeup of the Tigers lineup tonight. Maben will get things started. The Tigers lineup presented by the Southeast Michigan Ford dealers. Maben, then Kinsler, and then Miguel Cabrera. Victor DHing, JD Martinez in right, Justin Upton in left. The bottom three of Saltalamacchia, McGee, and Eric Ibar, and they are facing the right-handed offerings of Mr. James Shields.
James Shields has really struggled this year. You take a look at his 26 starts between San Diego and also the White Sox. The ERA is way up, the whip way up. 97 strikeouts, he's walked 60. For whatever reason, James Shields has just not had a good year.
Not exactly what the White Sox expected when they traded for James Shields. But he'll go to work here now against Cameron Maben, who's leading it off for the Tigers. Maben batting .328 on the season. And Cameron looks at a strike 0-1. Maben 4 out of 11 in the series against the Angels. Tigers dropped 2 out of 3 against the Halos. Now the 0-1. That's going to hit him. Maben hit on, it looked like the side or the back. The backside, we'll call it.
Let's take a look at the Chicago White Sox starting defense. It is brought to you by Tim Hortons. In the outfield, they line up this way, left to right. Cabrera, Eaton, Garcia. You've got Anderson at shortstop. Saladino, he is at second. Jose Abreu at first. Frazier, he is over at third. And the former Tiger, Alex Avila behind the plate.
Now, see, for some of us, this would not hurt at all.
Yeah, some of us got a little bit more padding back there than others.
So maybe it's on, and that'll bring up Ian Kinsler. Kinsler had batted leadoff every game that he had played in this year, so this will be his first spot in the spot in the lineup. There's a line drive right to third, and they'll get a double play. Frazier firing across the diamond, and just like that, the bases are empty. Two away.
And ball hit right on the button by Ian Kinsler, but how about the quick release and the throw across the diamond by Frazier? Look how quickly he grabs this ball and then gets it back on its way to first base.
Here is Cabrera now when the base is empty. And Shields missing low and away, 1-0. The Bernstein advantage brings you the pitcher batter matchup. Miguel Cabrera facing Shields at 381. And he looks at a ball low, 2-0 the count.
And not only is the batting average very high for Miguel against Shields, but the extra base damage is incredible. 3 homers, 7 doubles. He's got 28 homers, 80 ribbies on the season.
Well, Cabrera, Victor, and JD Martinez in the middle of the Tigers lineup. They've done some really good work against Shields, who clearly is staying away from Miguel, and the count goes 3-0.
Well, he's a smart man. And Miguel might just swing at the 3-0 pitch if James Shields tries to get too much plate.
And it's in there, a strike called right at the bottom of the strike zone. Shields now 34 years old, out of Newhall, California. His numbers in the month of August, man, this is a month he wants to forget. His ERA is over 13.
He's had 2 starts against the Tigers this year. He is 0-2 with an ERA that's approaching 8. So he has not been able to figure out many teams in the American League, Tigers being one of those.
And there's ball 4, so Cabrera takes his walk with 2 outs. First of the ball game now for Shields. That'll bring up Victor Martinez. Rob Ventura's got the stylish specs going tonight.
Yeah, he does. Sitting over there talking to his longtime pitching coach, Don Cooper.
DeMar batting .303 with 23 home runs. I think that's from the Joe Madden collection right there.
You think so?
Well, probably not.
Well, they're both managing in Chicago.
That's true.
And Chicago's one of them stylish cities. You would know.
I would know, right?
Your credit card gets a beating when you go there.
I'm Mr. Style. There's a ground ball back up the middle into center field, right through the shift. Cabrera will stop at second, and Vimart is aboard with a single.
Well, the fact that he pitched around Miguel Cabrera might just come back to haunt James Shields here in the very first inning. And that's the shortstop right there, Tim Anderson, that has a lot of range. But Mario, it looked like to me that because he was on that side of the bag, he's unfamiliar with really playing second base. He didn't go after that ball as aggressively as he goes after balls when he's playing shortstop.
Yeah, not at all. And now, as a result, a little bit of trouble here for Shields. Here is JD Martinez with 2 outs.
James Shields this season has given up 22 runs in the first inning, so it's been an issue for him.
Yikes. Let's add a few more to that total. JD swings right through it, 0-1. For Shields, his 22nd career start against the Tigers. Of course, he made a lot of them earlier in his career, in his years with the Rays. Had some good seasons in St. Pete.
Also quite a few starts against the Tigers when he spent a couple of years playing for Kansas City.
That's hit foul down the right field line, 0-2. Well, he's been a workhorse, Rod, in his career, and he's totaled up a lot of innings on that right arm. In fact, he's gone over 200 innings just about every season since he got to the big leagues.
And he stayed healthy. He's been a really nice performer, but this year he just can't get out of his own way.
9 straight years of at least 200 innings, which is the benchmark that most pitchers try and get to. You know, it's a good season. You've stayed healthy and you've pitched pretty well to get to 200 innings. 0-2 on JD. Good block at home plate by the former Tiger, Alex Avila.
They've got good arms in their outfield. Cabrera from left field has a very good arm for a left fielder. Adam Eaton, center field, lots of assists, most of them from right field, but he also has a very good arm. And Garcia has a very good arm as well, but not so accurate. So Dave Clark, third base coach, will have to make a decision on a base hit with Miggy being on second.
Well, JD thought about it, didn't go though, as Angel Hernandez said he held up. 2-2. Justin Upton would be next.
Just love the way that Miggy, and we talk about it, Mario, he's on second base. He's looking at the right fielder, looking at the second baseman. He'll look again at the shortstop to make sure he hasn't moved. He knows where everybody's playing. Therefore, when balls are hit that might be questionable for guys to read, he knows whether he can go or whether he needs to pause momentarily.
Got him. Strike 3, and Martinez doesn't like it. That ball looked inside, but he's punched out of there by Lance Barksdale. Tonight, Tigers and the White Sox getting together. MGM Grand Detroit brings you the scouting report on Justin Morneau, who's getting things started here. Here are the career numbers against the Tigers. He has had 69 extra base hits, which is the most among actives. And most of that damage done, obviously, in his days with the Minnesota Twins. Lefty-lefty matchup here, and Morneau looks at a strike.
White Sox didn't really know what they were going to get from Morneau when they signed him. They gave him $1 million contract. He was still injured, but once he got healthy, he has performed very well as a designated hitter.
Bouncing ball the other way, scooped up by McGee. And Morneau is out, 1 away.
Now they've got to make a decision on whether they want to bring him back next year as a free agent.
Well, we know he's got the pedigree, to be sure. Even at this age, is swinging the bat pretty well. Here is Avi Garcia.
He's been hot.
Well, he's got 8 home runs career against the Tigers and 34 RBIs in just 44 games.
Also batting .351 in his last 11 contests since he's come off the disabled list.
You look at a ball high. Remember the day he was traded, the Tigers, of course, got the shortstop Jose Iglesias from Boston, and Mr. Garcia ended up in Chicago. The Tigers were concerned that for the next decade or so that Garcia could do some damage against them, and he certainly has, but he really hasn't blossomed into the type of player many thought he would.
The White Sox really wanted Castellanos in that deal, but the Tigers would not budge. They would not give up Castellanos, so the White Sox got Garcia instead of Nick.
Down the right field line for JD, who makes the catch, and 2 gone. Well, stay tuned to Tigers Live. Following the game, we select the Fox Sports Detroit Tigers Player of the Game, presented by McDonald's. Stop by for your breakfast favorites, now being served all day. I'll let you go first, Ryan.
I am going to take I'm going to take Ian Kinsler today. Let's take Ian. He's been struggling too, man. He's 6 for his last 67, but I'm going to take him today.
You know what? He hit the ball hard his first time up.
I'm going to take him.
All right, I'm going to go with Jay Up.
It's a good pick.
The truck wants Victor Martinez.
Imagine that. He's already got a knock. Yeah. No, I'm just kidding. The truck's cool.
There's a strike called on the outer edge to Alex Avila. Avila batting .238, 4 home runs this year, and he's got the Victor Martinez-like shift going on.
Alex has spent a lot of time on the disabled list. Really just came off the disabled list lately. And Robin Ventura stuck him right in there tonight against the left-hander.
Avila in his time with Detroit. And they one really good year where he hit .295, won a Silver Slugger in 2011, then spent 7 years in a Tigers uniform. Here's the 1-1. 1-2 on Avila.
This is a different Boyd that the White Sox are seeing. We told you that earlier this year he had a couple of starts against the White Sox. Didn't fare all that well, but we've talked about the arm slot, him dropping that about 3 to 4 inches. He's gotten a little bit more life and movement on his fastball, more depth on his breaking ball. So the White Sox have not seen this version of Matthew Boyd.
Yeah, it's a good point. It is a different version, to be sure. They scored 6 runs against him in 4 1/3 first time they faced him.
And you know what I really liked about Boyd? His last time that he went out, he really didn't have his great stuff. He was against Minnesota, right?
Right.
And he just battled and battled and battled. He had 7 strikeouts, and he did it with less than he had been going out there with in his previous 6 starts. So he's really learning how to maneuver through a big league lineups when you're less than your best stuff.
Here's the 2-2, and it's fouled back. Yeah, Boyd gave up 3 runs in 6 innings. It was a quality start by definition, with 7 strikeouts and only 1 walk in that game. And Matt, along with Norris and along with Fulmer, have really kind of picked up the pace with some injuries in the Tigers rotation. Sanchez in August has gotten better, and Verlander's been Verlander.
Ooh.
Pretty close, 3-2. Chicago had a couple of singles in the first, but could not score. And Boyd, after a pair of hits, had to get through Abreu and Frazier, and he did so impressively. That's line toward left field, hit well, but Upton will cruise over there and make a basket catch.
That's your guy.
Yeah, I knew exactly what I was doing. He's going to come up and get a big hit here in the second as well. Jay up cruising over. Pulled out the basket for this one. Whoop. Hang on, Jay. Sports Detroit is brought to you by Comerica Bank. Raise your expectations of what a bank can be when it's time. Come to Comerica and find your summer of performance with great deals at the Dodge Summer Clearance Events. And by Kroger. Nice night for baseball here in downtown Detroit. Sox in town for a 3-game series. No scores. We go to the bottom of the second, and Justin Upton will lead it off. James Shields back to work, and he throws strike one on the outside corner.
It's funny how Justin has heated up and turned on a lot of balls the last week or so. Lots of home runs to left field. Just about every pitch he's been seeing lately. And they've been starting him off away.
And they stay away again. 1 ball, 1 strike.
What he's going to have to do now, he's going to have to take him a few base hits the opposite way. And then they'll try to come back inside again where he'll really be looking. And that's when he can do some more damage to the pull field. But for now, if they continue to pitch him away, he's got to take what they give him.
Outfield straight up on Upton. The infield back. 1-1 is popped up foul, back out of play. Well, here you go. The last 8 games, a 367 clip. Not only that, but he's had 5 of 8 multi-hit games in that span.
And all 4 of those homers have gone to left field.
Well, the 2 he hit against Boston, man, those were nearly 900 feet of home runs.
Weren't they, though? But the ball he hit the day before that against David Robertson, their closer, off the gate straightaway center field, that almost left the building.
Kimbrel, you mean? Right?
Kimbrel, excuse me. David Robertson's on this squad.
2 balls, 2 strikes on Upton.
Thank you for that.
Anytime.
I'm sure David Robertson appreciates that too. It's like, dude, I wasn't even here.
Here's the 2-2 pitch. Upton shoots a ground ball up the middle, but right there is Saladino. 1 out. Bring himself to Lomacchia. Tigers this year have won 8 and lost 5 against the White Sox, but they are 5-1 at home against Chicago this season. They'll need to start winning some games here. They've got Chicago here, they've got Chicago there next week. And then, of course, as we mentioned, all these games against the Central Division. And really, quite honestly, Rod, it's just laid out right in front of them. They've got all these teams within the division. Just got to win them.
Yeah, handle your business. That's what you have to do. Just win series.
Little bouncer to the third baseman, Frazier. And Salty's out of there, 2 gone. Well, the Tigers play these White Sox tomorrow and Wednesday. Get 4 tickets, hot dogs, chips, and drinks for just $19 per person. It's the weekday value pack. Call 866-66-TIGER or visit tigers.com/value.
As a matter of fact, starting here tonight, the Tigers will play at least 1 home and 1 road series against all 4 of the Central Division opponents.
KC and Chicago coming up on the next road trip. McGee looks at a ball outside. KC 2 out of 10 in that series against the Angels. Now the 1-0. That'll drop in for a strike. One thing I've been impressed with concerning Casey McGee is his skills at third base. I didn't realize he was that good of a third baseman.
Good veteran player. He's played a lot of games at third base. And he can really handle the glove.
High fly ball, left center field. That one is hit well. Eaton going back to the track to make the catch. It'll be a 1-2-3 inning for James Shields. All right, guys, thanks. It is scoreless as we go to the third, and here's what those guys were talking about. 5.5 game spread between Cleveland and KC. Tigers sandwiched in the middle, 4.5 games out, but those Royals using all that postseason experience to their benefit.
And go figure, man, they've lost a lot of really serious pieces out of that bullpen. Hochevar, also Wade Davis, both guys on the disabled list, but that bullpen is pitching better than it's pitched in the last couple of years.
Who would have thought? Tyler Saladino is starting things off here. The 2-1. Saladino hits this one in the air to right field. JD is under it. And one gone. We'll bring up Adam Eaton now, and with more on the White Sox leadoff man, we check in with Johnny Kane, the birthday boy.
Yeah, thanks.
Happy birthday, Johnny.
Thank you, hey, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
What are you, 18 now?
He looks like it. He looks like it.
We'll round up. But I'll tell you what about Adam Eaton, right? This guy's been obviously a thorn in the Tigers' side. He's also an Iron Man of sorts for the White Sox. He's played in 128 of 129 games. Well, yesterday against Seattle, he bruises his right forearm, said he didn't have any sensation in his fingertips, had to come out of the game, but reluctantly so, as Robin Ventura basically had to say, we got to get you out of there. But he put him right back in the lineup today, and Eaton said, I'm glad that the skipper put me back in. He said, I didn't want to get Wally pipped. So there he is.
Well, he certainly has been an Iron Man. There's no question. And Jim Leland had a turn for guys like Adam Eaton. Ball player. He's just a ball player.
Yeah, and it's good for him, too, because his first couple of years, I mean, 1 year in Arizona, I believe, and then his first year in the White Sox uniform, he was injury prone. But it's good to see him stay on the field because they're obviously a much better team when Adam Eaton is leading off for them.
Well, we mentioned 420 against Tigers pitching this year. And he's played in 130 of the 131 games now that the White Sox have played this year.
He can bunt, gets a lot of infield singles. So if you're an infielder and hits the ball to you have to get the ball over to first base in a hurry.
3 balls, 1 strike on Eaton. He's had a couple of clutch game-winning hits against the Tigers this year. Tim Anderson waiting on deck. 3-1 is a ball outside. He lost him, and so it's a 1-out walk for Eaton. First of the game now for Matt Boyd. Here is Tim Anderson.
Eaton does have 12 steals. He's been caught 4 times. So if you're Boyd, you have to make sure that you pay some attention to him. Don't let him get a good jump.
Anderson had a single in his first at bat. He's showing bunt, and look out, that ball almost hit him. And they're going to call him.
It's a strike.
It's a strike. Okay. Good call there. Home plate umpire Lance Barksdale. He was right on that.
Yeah, he clearly tried to bunt this ball, and he went too far. And he was almost out of the batter's box when he did make contact with that ball, if it did make contact with his bat.
And that's what I thought Barksdale was signaling, that maybe he made contact with that ball, but
right off the leg.
Yeah, bat and the leg. 0-1 on Anderson. McGee tied at third base. Ball high, 1 ball, 1 strike.
We've talked about the fact that Anderson has great speed. I mean, this guy is a fast runner, but he is grounded into 11 double plays. And they see the reason why he is grounded into so many is because he hits the ball so hard on the ground.
Doesn't seem possible. We have not talked about this guy in the same light that we've talked about Francisco Lindor or Carlos Correa, the other young shortstops who at least to this point are better offensive players, but he looks like he could round into one of the top players at that position in the American League.
He has all the physical skills to be a really good performer at that position.
Swing and a miss, 1-2. Out of Tuscaloosa, Alabama, big football country. He has something in common now with his current teammate Alex Avila, who played college ball in Alabama. 1-2 on Anderson. Swing and a miss, and down he goes, and Boyd carved him up nicely there.
once you get ahead of Anderson, because he has a really quick bat and he really loves to hunt fastballs, you can throw breaking balls out of the strike zone and he will chase every now and then.
Hey, just a reminder, as you enjoy a cold one, to look forward to Miller Time later in tonight's game, brought to you by Miller Lite. 2 down for Melky Cabrera. Cabrera had a bloop single back in the first. The Sox had a pretty good scoring chance in that first inning, 2 on 1 out, but they failed to score as Boyd struck out Abreu and they got Frazier to fly out. Bouncing ball slowly toward third, gonna hook foul. That'll send Eaton back to first base. It's a White Sox team that has had a battle injuries. Of course, the Tigers have as well, but Austin Jackson out for the year with the knee injury. Brett Laurie has not played since July. He's been on the shelf with a hamstring problem. Zach Putnam out of their bullpen has been injured. He's gone. Of course, the Tigers really don't want to hear about injuries. They've had enough of their own. Now the 0-1. That'll get back out of play. 0-2 the count on Melky Cabrera. They call him in New York the Milkman.
The Milkman.
Played with New York, Atlanta, KC, San Francisco, Toronto. A lot of different spots in his career. Swing and a miss. Down he goes, and some awkward swings here in the third by the White Sox. 3 strikeouts for Boyd, and the Sox are done in the third. Encounter. Here's what the standings looked like on May 9th when Chicago got off to that great start, and of course here's what they look like tonight.
Yeah, Chicago was rolling. I mean, they started the season 23-10 when they were out in first place by 6 games, but since then they have struggled. Now they sit at 63-66, 10 games back in the Central.
Shields back to the mound. He will face Eric Ibar to get it started here. Ibar is showing bunt, and it's in there, strike 1.
And Frazier, the third baseman, anchored on the grass. He knows the bunting ability of Eric Ibar. Ibar could bunt in both directions. He can go down third base. He can even drag that ball toward the second baseman, Saladino.
Bouncing ball, first base side, going to get through, base hit. Abreu could not backhand the ball. The leadoff man is on. Tigers have their second hit.
Here's one of the advantages here when you see the defense in. Abreu's not necessarily in as far as he should be, but when you know he's coming in on the pitch, look at him inch his way in, and that allows him to hit that ball right by him. Had he gone the opposite way, he'd been able to do the same thing to Frazier. That's one of the advantages you have as a guy that bunts, and they know you'll bunt. They crowd you, so every now and then you can find a hole on the ground.
Here's Cameron Maybin, who is hit by a pitch in his first at bat.
If you're Ibar, you have to be careful over at first base, and I'm sure he knows that James Shields has always had a really good pickoff move.
One ball, no strikes. Dave Clark in the box at third. Did you get that?
No, Dave's real good, man. You can't pick up Dave's signs.
Maybin this year at home, 380 in this ballpark.
Good hit and run count. If they want to do something like that with the speed at first base and Maybin's ability to put the ball in play. If Brad wants to force the issue.
Well, the Tigers offense the last 2 days in that series against the Angels certainly was sleepy. Only 4 hits yesterday, and they lost the middle game of the series as well. Couldn't garner a whole lot of offense. Here's the 1-0, and Maybin looks at a strike outside corner.
If you watch Shields when he's in the stretch, he has a unique way of taking a look to see how big the lead is of the base runner. I mean, he gets a really good look. He takes a really slow approach to delivering the baseball, and he's looking at the guy on first base the whole time.
Maybin fouls it away, 1-2. Well, Shields was with the Padres earlier this year, was 4-7, and then was traded on the June 4th to the Chicago White Sox. Eric Johnson and Fernando Tatis Jr. went the other way, and he had a really bad start his last start, then was traded. His first start with Chicago was bad. He was booed off the field in San Diego. I mean, it's been a weird season for him, and he certainly has not been used to the struggles that he's had this year.
It'll make him a better person.
Now the 1-2. Got him, strike 3. Maybin not so sure. And has words now with Lance Barksdale, who says, yep, you're out of there.
Here's the Magic Moonshot presented by Magic Window. Ian Kinsler has taken James Shields deep twice this season. Both of those home runs in Chicago. As a matter of fact, Ian Kinsler has 5 career home runs against James Shields. That's the most that Ian has against any one pitcher that he's ever faced.
He is 5 for 8 against him this year, and I see what you're trying to do. You're trying to set up a big at bat here for the guy that you picked.
Absolutely.
As player of the game.
Absolutely.
I'm on to you.
I'm setting it up.
Trying to get that good karma going. And Kinsler watches one curve in there for a strike, 0-1.
Shields throwing a lot of breaking balls, a lot of slow breaking balls here today. Not as many fastballs, not as many cut fastballs. He does have that changeup, which has been his signature pitch since he's been in the big leagues.
Hit the ball hard his first time up. Unfortunately, lined it right at Frazier, who then turned a double play. Here's the 0-1. Tried to hold up, but he did not go. That is Angel Hernandez said he held. What have you seen here in Kinsler in the month of August that has led to the slide in the numbers so far this month?
We'll take another look at that replay right there, and I'll tell you that's exactly what I'm seeing. A little bit jumpy. After this pitch, if he does nothing, we'll go back to this particular pitch on the check swing, and that's exactly what I'm seeing from Ian right now. The front side is opening up way too quickly. Therefore, the back arm is dropping, so he's hitting some pop-ups these days, and he's swinging through some pitches that he was not swinging through earlier.
Meanwhile, the White Sox bench barking at Lance Barksdale on that last call. Here's the 1-1. Runner goes. Swinging a shot pack up the middle into center field. A base hit. Ibar is on his way to third. He is in there safely, and the Tigers have runners at the corners.
Here's what I'm talking about, Mario, what he hasn't been doing correctly. Here's the check swing on the previous pitch. You can see that he's way out in front, and the body's leaving. Look at the body. It's out there, and all of a sudden he has to check it. His hips are opening up. That's not Ian Kinsler, but take a look at this next swing. He stays back a little bit longer. Brad puts the hit and run on. I love this call by Brad because he is struggling right now. You see how he let that ball travel?
Yeah.
He let that one travel. He did not open up the front hips, and he hit it right back up the middle. That is a beautiful call by Brad Ausmus because he has been struggling. And from a manager's standpoint, when you have a guy struggling, you put the hit and run on and you take the guesswork out of it for him. All he has to do is put the ball in play somewhere, and Ian did it to perfection.
Well, he not only has got himself on base here, but now he's set things up for Miguel Cabrera.
That swing that he took there was just one of those swings like playing pepper in the backyard when you were a kid. I just want to put the ball in play.
Ibar took third base. Kinsler at first. Ian now with a 12-game hitting streak against the White Sox. Cabrera shoots one in the air down the left field line. On the move is Melky. Cabrera, he'll make the catch. Ibar will tag. And the throw sails all the way to first base. It'll get a run in. RBI for Miguel Cabrera. Boy, Melky just unloaded that thing.
Where was he throwing?
I don't know. It'll be an RBI for Miguel, his 81st.
I mean, he took one look at third base. He knew that he was not going to get Ibar, who was on third, so he wheels and he sees Kinsler went too far. He airmails it all the way back to first.
He rainbowed that thing. And Abreu had to go way off the bag down the line to get it. So Miguel makes it 1-0. 2 outs now for Victor Martinez.
That's a nice job of manufacturing a run. I mean, every now and then when the big boys aren't necessarily getting it done, and they really hadn't gotten it done in the last couple of games against the other team that just left here, the Los Angeles Angels. You got a guy like Ibar who's fast. He's playing shortstop. He gets on, and then he goes on the hit and run. Kinsler does his job, and then Miggy lofts one deep enough to score Ibar. It's called manufacturing a run.
Gotta love it. Tigers have the 1-0 lead. They have 3 hits in this game. Victor had a single through the shift his last time, and he looks at a strike. Ooh, little bit outside, but it's called a strike.
Well, there's already been quite a few guys that have not necessarily agreed with the strike zone so far. Lance Barksdale. Let's just stay in the game tonight, boys.
Yeah, we don't need a repeat of game 2 against the Angels. 1 ball, 1 strike. I think a few parking attendants were thrown out in that game as well. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Soft ground ball to the right side, straight into the shift. And Victor is out of there, and that will end the inning. However, Tigers get a run on the sac fly by Cabrera, scoring Ibar. The top of the fourth inning now. Cameron Maben, of course, been a big spark for the Tigers so far this year. We bring in our good buddy Craig Monroe from the Call Sam Studios, who's taken in the game tonight. And Simo, you've talked to Mr. Maben, who certainly is not 100% these days, but he's still going out there and playing.
That's a great point, Simo. We noticed that last night as well. I thought initially that the contact with the ground and the glove may have jarred that baseball, but getting another look at it, you could clearly see that he could not close the glove, and that's exactly what he was telling J.D. Martinez. So basically, that's a win-win situation there, boy. Just a little knock there for Abreu. As hot as he's been.
The leadoff single by Abreu will bring up Todd Frazier now. What do you got on Matt Boyd here tonight, Simo? He's looked pretty good so far. Waving a miss by Frazier, who flied to right field to end the first inning. Each ball club now with 3 hits in this game. And Abreu aboard at first base following the leadoff single. And Frazier looks at a ball outside, 1 ball and 1 strike. Well, Boyd came into this start having done extremely well here in the month of August, and as Boyd gets deeper into the season, Michael Fulmer, Daniel Norris, although Norris spent a lot of time on the DL, the innings begin to pile up at this point in the year. And these guys, Rod, look all pretty fresh.
They really do look fresh, Mario, and you bring up a great point. I mean, neither of the 3 that you mentioned, Boyd, Norris, nor Fulmer, they have not pitched in September baseball other than pitching maybe in an instructional league. And so for them to be pitching in a pennant race, you know Brad's going to watch them very closely just to see how each guy does every single start. Fulmer will get his next start in Kansas City on Saturday. So he gets a couple of days off with the added day off on Thursday. They're going to push him back 1 more day. Sanchez, he gets the ball in his regular rest. And I think that he's going to. Who's that? That's not Fulmer, is it? Who is
Michael Fulmer, clean shaven.
Whoa, wait a minute, old fresh face kid.
So that's what he looks like. There's a high towering fly ball to left field. Justin Upton going back under it at the warning track to make the catch.
Here's a little bit of what you were talking about, Simo, regarding Boyd, and I kind of picked up on this too. He's kind of using his fastball strategically here today. He's kind of showing them fastballs all over the strike zone. He's got some easy outs on that, or he's got some easy swings and misses. But then he gets to that breaking ball. Fastball there, breaking ball to finish him off. Another fastball here, teasing him up in the strike zone, breaking ball bottom of the zone. So he's changing eye levels today beautifully, and he's throwing a real slow breaking ball today, not that hard slider that he normally throws, Mario.
Yeah, the curveball's been around 73, 74. It's been floating up there as Morneau stands in. And he sends one on the ground back up the middle. Kinsler on the backhand, flips to second, one, relay, not in time.
I see you, Ian.
Ooh, that would have been fancy schmancy, but they just couldn't quite turn it.
I had a nice conversation with Ian today. I mean, it was all access conversation around the second base position, the second base bag, and we just talked about everything that he did at that particular position. And I told him point blank, I said, you walk around like you all blue collar and everything, but you got a little swag in you. You like to get it done out there. I got a laugh out of him, too. You know, he didn't laugh a lot when he was on that baseball field, but I got a real nice chuckle out of Ian today.
Hey, Simo, you saw the play that Ibar made up the middle as well to begin the ball game here on Eaton. And really, whether it's Iglesias or Ibar, pairing with Kinsler, that's been a great combination.
I'll tell you something else, guys, that makes Ian so special. When Iglesias went on the disabled list for about 15 days, he played alongside Ibar, who we acquired. He played alongside Romine. We still had Aviles at the time. And the youngster Machado also got some reps. So in a span of 2 weeks, when Iglesias was on the DL, Ian had 4 different shortstops.
And that brings me to...
That does help. I mean, you can't really simulate game speed in BP, but you can really kind of get a feel for what guys like up the middle.
Garcia takes high, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Kinsler just strikes me as one of those guys that can find a way to find chemistry with anybody that's playing to his right.
I mean, he is 34 years old and he's in the best shape of his life. And he's one of the best second basemen in our sport.
Here's the 2-2. Slice to center, base hit. Garcia is aboard with a single. Morneau moves to second base. 2 on now with 2 outs. That'll bring up Alex Avila. Tigers took a 1-0 lead on the sac fly by Cabrera in the bottom of the 3rd. Alex lined out to left field his first time up, hit the ball hard, and Upton ran it down.
Simo, what'd you think of the play by Brad last half inning? Ian struggling a little bit, 1-1 count. Looked like it was a hit and run to me, but those really help out when you're struggling as a player. When you make that manager makes you swing. Good swing by Ian too.
You know, I like that too. And the one thing Brad said the other day, guys, was that, look, this team is built to slug. There's no doubt about it. But he also has some guys in this lineup that can do exactly what they did in that situation. Guys like Kinsler, he can handle the bat. Cameron Maben can handle the bat. Ibar can handle the bat. So there are parts of this offense that can play that game.
No question.
Meanwhile, 3-0 on Avila with 2 on and 2 out. Boyd has walked only 1 so far in this game. Saladino waiting on deck. Here's a 3-0. Avila takes. It's a strike, 3-1. 70 now for Boyd, so the pitch count is elevated. That 21 pitch first inning, and now 21 here in the 4th.
Ooh, it's been a stressful outing for him. I mean, really has, as far as the pitches thrown are concerned.
Avila waits on the 3-1, and he'll step off now. The White Sox have 2 men on. Bouncer back up the middle. Ibar can't get it. Kinsler can't get it. And everybody is safe. They will be loaded up on a bleeding ground ball single for Alex Avila. Kinsler at least getting to that ball saved a run.
Well, they weren't going to get an out on this play, but what they were trying to do is they were trying to prevent the run from scoring, and they were able to do that by knocking the ball down and then picking it up with Morneau running from second base. Morneau, not the fleetest of foot. They weren't going to gamble and try to send him home. And Boyd still has a chance to get out of this inning. What do you got in this mustache, Simo?
What? You wouldn't sport that?
Johnny Kane will have more on that mustache a little bit later on. Yeah, not going to want to miss it. There's a ball outside to Saladino.
How about you, Mario? You can grow one of those.
I got no opinion, man. None whatsoever. That's right. That's right. Well, Boyd, meanwhile, trying to pitch out of this jam here. The Tigers lead 1-0. There's the 1-0. Inside, 2 balls and no strikes.
Well, if you're Boyd right here and you have any confidence whatsoever on any of your off-speed pitches, here would be the time to throw it. If you throw a fastball here, Saladino is probably going to barrel it up somewhere because that's what he's looking for. But if you can throw a breaking ball, disguise it as a fastball, and get some contact, you can get some weak contact here.
Right back up the middle into center field. That'll be a base hit. 1 run scores. Here's Garcia rounding third. They send him home. He will score. And the number 9 hitter, Tyler Saladino, with a single to center to give the White Sox the lead.
I just told him if he threw that fastball that Saladino was going to barrel it up somewhere because he's thrown so many pitches and he was in that friendly fastball count. If you throw a breaking ball here, you might get a swing and miss, but the fastball at 90 miles an hour right down the middle. These just don't make it to the catcher's glove very often.
And Saladino gets RBIs 30 and 31. And Chicago with their first lead. And this has turned into a 25-pitch inning now for Matt Boyd. Here is Adam Eaton trying to build on a 2-1 lead for the White Sox. Eaton looks at ball 1.
I know J-Up likes to play deep in left field, but in this particular situation with Eaton in the batter's box and his ability to hit the ball the opposite way with not necessarily a lot of power, and J-Up might want to come in a few steps to give himself a chance at throwing out the base runner if it's a base hit in his direction.
Bouncing ball foul down the first base line.
You can see a heavy dose of his contact is in that direction.
1-2. Now Eaton will step out. And he's gaining on a 30-pitch inning. Is Matt Boyd. He needs a couple to get to that plateau. Here's the 1-2. Fouled straight back by Eaton. This guy's just a very pesky hitter. He's on pace for a little bit more power this year, on pace for 14 homers, which would equal his career high of last year. So he'd been hitting the ball out of the ballpark a little bit more frequently the last couple of seasons. Now the 1-2. Lifted in the air towards center field. Cameron Maben coming in. And that'll end the inning. Simo, thanks, buddy. We'll talk to you on postgame. All right, the White Sox grab a couple of runs and take their first lead of the night. Chevy Silverado, most dependable player. We're going to go with JD Martinez this season against the White Sox. Man, look at these numbers.
Ooh, a lot of firsts. 1/5 there as far as the RBI is concerned, but a lot of extra base damage. He's worn out the Chicago White Sox pitching staff this season.
It'll be JD, Justin Upton, and then Jared Saltalamacchia here in the bottom of the fourth. Tigers down 2-1 now.
And James Shields, he struck Martinez out back in the first inning with a changeup inside.
And he'll bend one in there for a strike. 0-1.
Lots of off-speed stuff here thrown tonight by James Shields. Tigers really aren't on to that yet, but they will. They've got a lot of quality veteran hitters down there in that dugout, and they'll soon understand that he's not really coming after them, but lots of soft stuff.
That tied him up, and he fouled it off. 0-2 the count on JD. Shields has made 344 starts since getting to the major leagues in 06, more than any other pitcher in the American League. And really, when you look at who's second, it's Justin Verlander right behind him at 343 starts. So JV and Shields have been the top in that category since 06. That's pulled to left field, and it's going to get down a base hit. Maybe more. It's caught by Cabrera. JD hustling to second, and he's in there with a stand-up double. Lead-off two-base hit.
We told you that James Shields was able to strike out JD Martinez on a changeup his first time up. Well, here's another changeup that he went down at the bottom of the strike zone, and you can see JD, his body's out in front, but look at the hands. They still stay back. And for you kids at home, if you get out in front with your body and you still keep your hands back, you still have a chance. And that's one of the reasons why he drove the ball down the left field line. Cabrera, a little bit of trouble with it down there in the left field corner, and that allowed JD to go into second standing up.
Right under his glove. It'll be a double, the 28th of the year for Martinez. Now here is Upton, who bounced out 4-3 his first time up.
Another one of those 4-3s would be lovely right here, or just drive the ball through that side of the infield. But if you're Justin Upton, that's what you have to force yourself into doing. You can't necessarily try to pull the baseball right here. At least get JD Martinez over to third.
Upton has hit safely in 5 of his last 7. Tigers have the tying run at second with nobody out. Ball 1. So Shields now is at 40, 26 of which are strikes. Boyd, by the way, had a 30-pitch fourth.
You got to be careful there with Abreu. If the ball's hit sharply at him, he'll try to go to third base. If you're JD, you got to be careful. You can't just assume you can get to third on the ball hitting that direction.
One and one on Upton. And Martinez missed about a month of this season, more than a month, and he's got 28 doubles.
It's ridiculous how efficient he has been since coming off of the disabled list. It really is. To miss that much time and then to come back after breaking your elbow and do the kind of damage he's done the last month.
Ground ball to third. Tough hop there for Frazier. Will not advance the runner. JD will hold at second. One gone. A September 10th is Star Wars night when the Tigers battle the Orioles at 7:10 p.m. Special ticket offer includes a Tiger Star Wars cap and a donation to Stand Up to Cancer. Available exclusively at tigers.com/Star Wars.
Here's your guy, Chewbacca.
Why is he my guy? You a Star Wars fan?
No, not really.
Yeah, I never got into it either.
I wasn't much into that.
I know a lot of people that are.
Oh, for sure.
And they will be here. Here is Saltalamacchia. Playing to pull on Salty. The shift is on. Pickoff throw to second. Goes into center field.
What in the world is James Shields doing?
And Martinez will go to third standing up. I'm not sure I've ever seen that before. Shields just let it go. Well, that look says it all right there for Robin Ventura.
And there's nobody there.
Anderson made a leaping attempt, but he wasn't going to get it.
Infield coming in now. They're going to make JD Martinez make a decision on the ball hit on the ground. And my guess is that he will not try to score on anything hit to any of the infielders. He's going to have to make the ball be through the infield.
Good block by Avila, holding the runner at third base. So the error by Shields puts the tying run just 90 feet away. Here's the 1-0. 2 balls and no strikes.
That's a nice job so far by Saltalamacchia. And laying off those balls that are south of the knees. He's got one thing in mind, and that's to hit the ball deep enough into the outfield to score the run. And Salty also has that built-in uppercut swing when he's batting left-handed.
2-1 now on Saltalamacchia. He grounded to third in his first at bat. They were playing the shift on that time. It was pretty much hit to the shortstop position, but they're playing straight up now with the runner at third. Chance to tie it up. 2-1 Chicago. We're in the fourth. And now Saltalamacchia steps out. Checked it low. They will appeal. He did not go. It's Ted Barrett down at third. 3-1.
And really, in the grand scheme of things, if you're Shields, you really don't mind walking Saltalamacchia in this particular situation, because what it does is it creates a double play opportunity for you to get out of the inning if you can get that ground ball out of Casey McGee, who's in the on-deck circle. That's why he's pitching so carefully to Salty right now.
Pulled on the ground at first, knocked down there by Abreu. He's going to take the out, and holding at third is Martinez. Abreu had to get to his feet quickly, but JD was holding at third base.
You know, that's a particular play right there where Dave Clark has probably already told JD Martinez that you're not going on anything on the ground. You're not going on anything on the ground. But every now and then the third base coach will say to a base runner, if you're a good base runner, I want you to read it. He's playing a little deeper, so I want you to read this particular play. And if you feel like you can score, score. But if he said to him, you're not going on the ground, that's the reason why there's no movement by JD Martinez there.
Now McGee, and he looks at ball one. Well, I was with you. I thought for sure they just were going to put Saltalamacchia on and play for the double play ball here, but that worked out well for Shields. And Abreu made a nice sprawling play. Now it'll take a 2-out hit from McGee. Fly deep to center field his first time up, and he looks at a strike. One and one on Casey. Shields trying to pitch around a leadoff double here in the fourth by JD Martinez. Bouncing ball to third, foul. McGee does not have a home run as a Tiger. He's knocked in only one so far this year.
And 50 pitches into this contest, James Shields has thrown 59% fastball, 41% off speed, whether it be that slow curve or that changeup. So heavy dose of off speed stuff here tonight.
Just missed high and away. 2-2. There's Ivar waiting on deck, hoping to get an opportunity here in the fourth. And the 2-2. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. And the Tigers will waste a leadoff double here in the fourth. No runs, one hit, one man left. 4 in the books. Shields able to wiggle out of that jam. Leadoff double, got to third base with only one out, but the Tigers failed to score him. And now we go to the fifth inning. It'll be Tim Anderson leading it off, facing Matt Boyd, who has thrown 79 pitches. Here's number 80, and it's fouled back out of play 0-1. 2 runs on 6 hits for Chicago. Tigers to run on 4 hits. Anderson, Cabrera, and Abreu, 2, 3, and 4 for Robin Ventura. Anderson cuts and misses, 0-2.
Now you can get Anderson to chase an off-speed pitch. You can bury it at the bottom of the strike zone, at least for one pitch. And very young hitters are still making adjustments in the big leagues.
Just got a piece of it.
And now you can go upstairs with a fastball, or you can simply stay down there with another breaking ball. Just don't get too much plate with it.
Saltalamacchia flashing signs, wants the fastball. And it's cued the other way into right field, a base hit. Anderson has his second hit of the day.
Here's our high-speed pitch, and it is brought to you by Xfinity. And Matthew Boyd, top fastball, 93. He's gone as low as 72 with one of those really slow benders. And made a mistake there. 0-2 pitch to an over-aggressive young hitter. And threw him a fastball, and Anderson was able to hit it the other way for a knock.
Now Melky Cabrera, single and a strikeout for Cabrera. That had him fooled out in front, but he didn't pull the trigger. 1-0. Cabrera came in batting just .213 in the month of August.
If you're Boyd, really no need to panic. You're looking for the ground ball here.
Ball 2.
But very difficult to get the ground ball if you're working above the belt buckle. You've got to be south of the knees. 15 double plays Cabrera has grounded into this year.
Action in the Tigers bullpen. Alex Wilson heating up. Way inside, and the count goes 3-0 now on Cabrera. Boyd threw 30 in the 4th inning. In there, a strike called, 3-1. Ground ball, foul ball outside of the bag at third. Ted Barrett was right on it.
Nice play down there by the ball boy.
Tough short hop, stayed with it.
How about that?
Playing it off like it's no big deal. Good play. Full count now, 3-2. That'll get fouled down the right field line.
What a gorgeous night down here tonight. Spectacular night.
Yeah, late August. The temperatures have been really nice of late. They're going to get a little bit cooler. Right now, 76 at the ballpark. Another good gathering watching game 1 in this series. 2 more to go on this homestand. When the Tigers return home, it'll be September. Runner goes, and it's popped up foul, back out of play. So Anderson didn't go on the previous 3-2 pitch, but they have him on the move there. Now it's up to 90 for Matt Boyd. He'll draw and throw. Waiting on deck is Abreu. Runner goes again, and it's fouled back out of play.
And Tigers will have a golden opportunity to strike him out, throw him out here, because Anderson's obviously not getting a big jump with the left-hander being on the back mound in Matt Boyd. So he's not getting a good jump because he doesn't want to get picked off. But if Boyd's able to strike out Cabrera, Saltalamacchia will throw him out by quite a few feet if he makes an accurate throw.
Runner goes again, and one more time fouled back out of play. Henderson just put on the brakes halfway down. And now we'll head back to first base.
Robin Ventura must have a whole lot of confidence in Cabrera here to start the runner with 2 outs as many times as he has. Apparently Cabrera doesn't strike out very often.
This has turned into a 10-pitch at bat. There's number 10 coming up. Runner goes, swing and a foul.
As a matter of fact, Melky Cabrera, he is 4th in the American League. 9.2 strikeouts.
4th toughest to strike out.
Yeah.
Is Iglesias still leading?
Iglesias is the toughest. Altuve is the 2nd toughest. Jose Ramirez, that kid in Cleveland, is the 3rd toughest. And Milkman is the 4th toughest to strike out in the junior circuit.
He is showing why in this at bat. Runner goes again, and he walked him. Ball 4. A lengthy at bat results in a base on balls, and that's going to be it. Here comes Brad Ausmus.
Yeah, Matthew just didn't have it really here today, and Brad's going to get him out of there and bring in a fresh arm to try to stop this damage right here. Tigers need a win today.
Second walk of the game for Boyd is going to be the final hitter that he faces. He will leave with 2 men on. Wallside windows pitching change. Alex Wilson coming in, and we'll be back. On Fox Sports Detroit is brought to you by the Sam Bernstein Law Firm, official legal services sponsor of Fox Sports Detroit. Bell Tire, get the lowest tire price, period. Bell Tire. And by Chevrolet, more than you expect for less than you imagine. Now the Tigers down by a run here at Comerica Park. We're in the 5th inning. Sox have 2 on, nobody out. The Tigers have gone to the bullpen. Matt Boyd is out of the game, and Alex Wilson will come into the game. Here are the numbers on Boyd. They're not yet final. He is responsible for the men at 1st and 2nd.
Alex Wilson has come into games this year, and there's been 35 base runners in the games that he's come into prior to tonight, and 14 of the 35 have scored. So he needs to make sure he strands those 2 out there for Matthew Boyd, who's left him.
Jose Abreu looks at a strike. Abreu is 1 for 2, had a single in the 4th inning.
He has seen Alex Wilson 8 times. And Jose has 2 hits against Wilson. He is 2 for 8.
Chopped to the shortstop. Ibar to second. They'll get one there. Relay is a double play.
That is the 18th time now that Abreu has grounded into a double play. So outstanding job there by Wilson, making the pitch to the area that we told you earlier. If you were watching the broadcast, we told you that he struggles with that ball that's up and in right around the belt buckle. And that weakness was exploited beautifully there by Alex Wilson to get the double play. 6-4-3.
And Abreu can't believe he just did that. 2 outs now with the runner at third. Here is Todd Frazier. Ball 1 high.
Also, Mario, I mean, I beat you to the ballpark today, by the way, and that never ever happens. When I was doing that little piece with Ian Kinsler on the field, and he talked about all the double play balls and how you don't have to be as creative these days because of the new slide rule.
Right.
And that's taken some of the fun out of it for the middle infielders, but he still finds time to make the necessary adjustments when he doesn't get great throws as he did on that last double play ball, that feed there from Ibar.
Well, Wilson induced the ground ball. The Tigers get 2, and their bullpen has really done some pretty good work of late. Ibar, a nice play early in the game, and now this start of a 6-4-3.
One more look at it. He just kind of shuffles it over there. Ian kind of grabs it, and he kind of throws off balance. He knows that Cabrera's not going to take him out. Ian told me that a year ago, that on that particular play right there, the guy that's the base runner would have the luxury of getting in there and really taking him out, but they can't do it anymore. So as a shortstop and a second baseman, you don't have to worry about getting out of the way, but you have to make sure with the instant replay you keep your foot on the bag.
And that's the key, because that is looked at so much more clearly now. 2-1 foul back, 2-2 on Frazier.
Yeah, we're going to talk to Ian at length, and we're going to give you a lot of it the next couple of days of what he was talking about around the second base bag. We're going to do it on Tigers Live. We'll give you a dose of it here, game telecast, if you guys don't watch Tigers Live, but you should tune into Tigers Live every day.
Meanwhile, 2-2 on Todd Frazier. I think it's always really interesting when you can get the finer points and kind of pick the brain of a guy that is so good at what he does on the field in his position. And that'll be fun to watch. He'll give you some insights that you may not have known.
He's one of the best second basemen in baseball.
Sure. You had a pretty good workout on the field today, didn't you?
We had a lot of fun,
yeah?
man.
How your muscles feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good. I had a couple of Advil before I went out there. Not my first rodeo, man.
3-2 on Frazier. And he just got a piece of that one, rolled it to first base, and the inning is over. So the crisis averted. No runs, a walk, 1 man left. Tigers baseball presented by Bell Tire.
It's a bad throw. If he's rushing in and has to make a running throw, most guys lose it arm side.
Right.
So if he loses that ball arm side, I'm going to catch here. I'm going to take one step and throw this way. I'm going to try to throw off that first step. Now, if he goes back, it's got to be a reach play for me to, like the Pujols play last night.
Right.
He was deep in the hole, and he kind of threw it here.
Right.
Now I'm going to catch, and I'm going to clear myself this way and come straight over the top and throw. And those are really the only two adjustments that I make. I try to keep it as simple as possible.
Great insights there from Ian Kinsler on how he plays that second base position. That play with Pujols he talked about was a great play in the hole by Jose Iglesias. And we'll get that play in a second to kind of illustrate what Ian was talking about. But again, it's really fun to listen to one of the best at his position kind of explain how he goes about his business.
Also a real nice play by Iglesias last night, getting over in front of that ball that Pujols hit. I mean, over in the hole and then throwing underneath to give him a nice feed. So that play doesn't happen if it not for the very fleet foot of Iglesias.
Yeah, there were a lot of moving parts in that play.
We talked about everything, Lamar. We talked about the shift. We talked about the barehanded play. We just had a lot of fun today chopping it up at his position.
A little bit outside, 2-1 on Ibar. Eric got it started with a base hit in the third and then scored the Tigers run. Shields and the White Sox lead 2-1 as we play here in the fifth. And Ibar looks at a strike. 2-2.
It's a nice job by Ibar. I mean, he's just looking to get on base. He feels like he has the ability to put the ball in with 2 strikes, so he's going to make Shields work.
A little bit outside, full count now, 3-2. Maben on deck. Shields able to pitch around a leadoff double in the 4th inning. Shields going through every single sign that Avila had.
And he probably wants to get back to the fastball, but he's trying to make sure, make Ibar think he's throwing something off speed.
Lifted foul down the left field line.
Here's that play that we were talking about. Ian was talking about the Iglesias play, how he had to grab it and then he used that bag throwing off that right foot to protect himself, but that's not a good throw. So that's where he says he plants on the right foot and just kind of throws across his body.
Great play all the way around. Ground ball right back to the mound, knocked down by Shields. And Ibar is out of there, 1 gone. Here is Cameron Maben back to the top of the Tigers lineup. Avila going out to the mound to have a chat with Shields. How long round do you think it takes for a catcher to learn to catch a new pitcher? And obviously Shields has been around a long time, and Alex probably knows what he likes to do. He's faced him a lot, but still, when your teammate's trying to get on the same page, sometimes it might take a little while.
Oh, it takes at least 2, 3, 4 starts before you really learn what that pitcher likes to do in pressure situations. Of course, he's seen him over the years when he was wearing the Kansas City Royals uniform and Alex was facing him, so he has an idea of the arsenal that Shields has. But once you get behind the plate, you just kind of get a feel for what their pitches do, and you do that by learning guys by catching their bullpens, also catching them in the game.
Swing and a miss. 0-2 now on Cameron Maben. Mentioned Shields has had a couple of Rockies starts against the Tigers this year. One pretty good one, but 2 that were not so good. And so far he has scattered 4 hits, given up 1 run. Outfield playing the other way on Maben. Infield is straight. Here's the 0-2. Wasted one back into the seats. A bit of an emergency swing there by Maben.
Well, you can tell that that left thumb is really bothering Cam right now, but he's gutting it out. He's not complaining at all. And Avila, as a matter of fact, wanted another fastball inside for Shields to throw because they know that Cam is battling that sore left thumb. It's his bottom hand. You can see it heavily wrapped, and he's cut his batting glove.
Again, the 0-2. High, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
And the thing that hurts the most when you're swinging the bat and it's your bottom hand is that your right hand, your top hand, is resting comfortably on that thumb. So that when you swing the bat, if it's an uncomfortable swing, you're really going to hurt it.
Yeah, through it all, Maben has had some pretty good at-bats in recent games despite the injury. That's driven down the right field line and back out of play.
I mean, every time he takes a swing, he has to take that left arm and just kind of dangle it.
See right now he's taking his time getting back in the box. That last one probably particularly didn't feel good. And the grimace. Now Shields with the 1-2. Hold to left field. That's going to drop. Base hit. Maben hooks one to the left, and he'll pull in with a 1-out single. Check in now with Johnny Kane.
Yeah, guys, listen, I know you had a shot earlier of Michael Fulmer inside the Tigers dugout, and I know when we all got to the park earlier today, we're doing a double take. He looks like a brand new man. We're not going to see him in this series, obviously not until Saturday against Kansas City with some extended rest. But I walked over to him. I said, "What's going on here?" He said, "I just took it off." I said, "When's the last time you've been completely shaved?" He said, "Couple of years, but it grows fast. It'll be back." I said, "So you getting it started right away?" He said, "Well, I'm not sure about that." But anyway, he looks completely different, honestly. I mean, he's a young man, but with the beard, at least he looked, you know, grizzly.
Older.
Yeah, older.
He looks good like that.
I think he looks good. Yeah, he looks good. Fresh face.
All right, Johnny, thanks. As Kinsler looks at a ball outside. Here's a split screen of Fulmer with the beard and without. We finally know what he looks like.
Right?
I got to be honest. I walked right by him in the dugout. Had no idea who he was.
Did you really?
And I thought, do we have some early call-ups? Who's that guy? And it turned out to be Michael Fulmer. He probably thought I was being rude. Just walked right by him. 1-0 on Kinsler. And diving back in, Maben. Ian with a single. He scalded a ball his first time up, lined into a double play, but his base hit on a hit and run in the third allowed the Tigers to set up a run, and they eventually scored that run. That bends outside. 2 balls and no strikes on Ian. Shields has had only one 1-2-3 inning in this game, so he's had traffic on the bases just about every inning. Now the 2-0. In there is strike call, 2-1 in the check swing. Kinsler, a long look at Dave Clark running through the signs in the box at third. Tigers scored a run in the third, fell behind when the White Sox scored 2 in the fourth. Down low, and the count goes 3-1.
If you're Brad and you want to do something here with this particular 3-1 count, you can send Maben because obviously if it's not a strike, Ian will take it. It'll be ball 4. And if Shields does throw the ball over the plate, then Ian will put it in play somewhere and somewhat protect Cam Maben if he doesn't get a great jump.
Runner goes. Here's the throw down to second. That is ball 4 on Kinsler. And so the Tigers have 2 aboard now with 1 out.
Uh-oh.
And Maben now at second base holding that thumb.
Why would he slide head first?
I don't
you know you've got the bad thumb anyway.
Kevin Rand comes running out, the head athletic trainer for the Tigers, and now he'll take a look at Maben. You see the left thumb heavily taped.
He's in a tremendous amount of pain. Oh, the knee came, oh my gosh, right into the knee of Saladino.
Maben's coming out of the game. Yep, there it is. Great shot of it right there. So Collins will come on a pinch run for Cameron Maben, and he clearly is in a lot of pain as he walks off. Imagine, Ron, it's just an instinct type thing for Maben just to dive into the bag at second. Sometimes you just forget.
It's got to be, Mario, because knowing that you've got the bad thumb, you would think that you would slide feet first, but maybe he's just more comfortable sliding head first.
So Maben is out of the game. He'll head back to the clubhouse. And now here is Cabrera with 2 on and 1 out. Collins, the pinch runner, in second. Miguel with a sac fly in his last at bat. He walked in his first at bat.
He's got great career numbers against James Shields. And whether Shields be wearing the Tampa Bay Rays uniform, the Kansas City Royals uniform, or now this White Sox uniform, he really has not been able to get Miggy out with any consistency whatsoever. But then again, there are few have been able to do that against Miggy.
And Cabrera takes ball 1. .381, pretty good.
With 3 homers and quite a few doubles.
Tigers have the tying run at second, go-ahead run at first. We're in the 5th. Only 1 out for Cabrera.
Yeah, Miggy's been on fire as well his last 6 games, batting at a .455 clip.
2-0. Victor Martinez waiting on deck. Cabrera came in with good numbers overall against the White Sox, let alone Shields. .392 versus Sox pitching this year. He's got himself at a 2-0 count now. Driven toward left field on a line. Cabrera makes the play.
What a catch.
Wow. A line drive slicing away from Melky Cabrera, and he was able to hold on.
This ball had some serious topspin on it. But it was a good break by Melky. He took a direct route getting there, and the topspin allowed him to catch that ball right before it got to the grass. That is not an easy play. And for Melky.
And Cabrera's reaction says it all. 2 gone. Yep. Shields says, wow, good play. And now here is Victor Martinez with a single and a ground out. They're playing Saladino on the grass deep at second base. And Victor takes ball 1. Collins at second and Kinsler at first. Shields methodically has been able to pitch through a lot of trouble in this game. Here's the 1-0 and a good block by Avila. 2 balls and no strikes. Shields now is up to 75, and he's had himself a lengthy 5th. Cabrera is still shaking his head on that last at bat. Here's the 2-0. 3-0 now on Victor Martinez. JD waiting on deck. Not getting a whole lot easier with the guy waiting on deck. Now Shields with the 3-0, and it's a ball inside, ball 4. Looked like it might have caught the inside corner. Shields thought he had it, but now the bases are loaded, and here is JD Martinez. Don Cooper coming out. Well, don't miss out on your chance to see the 2016 Michigan Sports Hall of Fame induction Friday, September the 9th. Be there at Sports Legends Derek Jeter, Ben Wallace, Brendan Shanahan, and more are officially welcome to the 2016 class. For tickets and more information, please visit mshof.org or call 313-576-5111 for more information. Well, a sticky spot here now for the right-hander Shields. And JD Martinez will step in with the bags full. He has 2 slams in his career. Collins, Kinsler, Martinez, the base runners. Three walks now for Shields, 2 of them here in the 5th. JD with a double in his last at bat. He's 1 for 2. And he takes outside 1-0. Crowd starting to make some noise now. Tigers trying to take advantage of a 2-out scoring chance. They've been out hit 7-5 in this game. Ball 2 to Martinez.
Ooh, dangerous count now for James Shields. Coming into this contest here today, Shields had given up 11 homers in his last 15 innings. So he's been serving them up.
At least 2 homers a game in each of his last 4 starts. And he's fallen behind 2-0. Swinging a foul back, 2-1. Shields has been behind on each of the last 4 batters. And he is flirting with danger here.
He has tried to get JD Martinez out with changeups today. He was successful his first time up today. Not so successful the second time up. JD doubled down the left field line on a changeup. Hasn't thrown him a changeup yet in this pitch sequence.
Way high, and the count goes to 3-1. 2-out risk. The Tigers at 259, tied for first. So the Major League Baseball ranks. Now he's got to come into JD. A lot of shaking off tonight by Shields. Here's the 3-1. Big rip there by Martinez. 3-2. Tigers now will get the runners started here with 2 outs. Justin Upton waiting on deck. Tigers in search of a big hit here in the 5th. Now Shields stepping off. He has been in no hurry here in the 5th inning. And he continues now to play the stall game here. Here comes Avila out to the mound. These two really have not really been on the same page much of the night. We've seen Shields shake off Avila quite a bit. There is action now in the bullpen for the Sox.
Avila may not even put down a sign this time. He may just go back there and then just wait for the ball to be delivered. They've already talked about the pitch that's going to be thrown.
Here's the 3-2. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. Shields comes up with a big strikeout in a big moment, and the Tigers will leave them loaded. On our way to the 6th at Comerica, 2-1 Chicago. All right, guys, thanks. In the meantime, Tyler Collins will take over his spot in center field. It remains a 2-1 ball game. Sox have the lead as we go to the 6th. Justin Morneau leading it off. And a ball outside, 1 ball, 1 strike.
Outstanding job in the top half of the 5th inning by Alex Wilson. Runners on 1st and 2nd, nobody out. And got a double play ball and then got the ground out to first base to end the inning.
Morneau sends it back out of play. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Morneau in the ball game, reaching on a fielder's choice and scoring a run in the 4th. He is 0 for 2. And that'll put a smile on that young man's face. Here's the 1-2. Morneau has hit 5 home runs this year since being signed by the White Sox and joining the team midseason. 2 of those 5 home runs against the Tigers.
And for the most part, Alex Wilson throws 4-seam fastballs and cut fastballs. Every now and then he'll throw a slider.
Chop to the first baseman. Miggy backs up. Wilson covers. 1 gone.
Does have a changeup as well, but doesn't throw his changeup very often. So pretty much fastball anywhere from 89 to 92. The cutter, that pitch goes anywhere from 81 to 83 miles an hour.
So he's faced 3 batters. He's gotten 3 ground ball outs, and one of them was a double play. Here is Avi Garcia, singled, scored a run in the 4th. And Garcia looks at a strike 0-1. Garcia came in with 10 RBIs in his last 11 games. He has been swinging it. Wilson with the 0-1, and it breaks in for a strike. 0-2. Wilson earlier this year in the month of August had a career-long 14 straight scoreless appearances. That was snapped in mid-August. Swing and a miss. He threw it by Garcia. 2 outs. Friday, September 9th at 7:10 p.m. Tigers host the Orioles. The first 10,000 fans receive a commemorative Justin Verlander 2000 strikeout figurine. Call 866-66-TIGERS. Buy with no fees at the Comerica Park box office or visit Tigers.com. Orioles, one of the teams right now the Tigers chasing for the wild card. They are 2 behind Baltimore.
It should be an entertaining weekend of baseball when the Tigers come back off of their road trip. They will go to Kansas City, and then they'll play 3 games in Chicago, come back home next weekend.
Avila, the batter, with 2 outs, a single and a fly out for Alex.
The following weekend, I should say.
Really not too many games outside of the division for the Tigers. They have the Orioles and they have Atlanta at the end of the year. That's it. Everything else within the division of the Central. Swing and a miss. 0-2 on Avila. There you have it. Tigers trailing Baltimore by 2. Orioles are losing their game tonight against Toronto.
And Kansas City also winning their game tonight against the hot New York Yankees all of a sudden.
One and two.
You think Bud Selig really knew how positively the interleague and also the wild card would be received when he put it in play a few years back?
Probably not, but you know, I think it's worked out well. The second wild card, I think, has done wonders to keeping a lot more teams involved and interested in the month of September.
Which is great for the fans, and that's what it's all about.
I know Jim Leland was constantly asked what he thought about interleague play and the 2 wild card situations, and he would always say, you know what, it doesn't matter what I think. If it's good for the game of baseball, that's the most important thing, which I agreed with.
Yeah, that second wild card, I mean, it's just giving a lot of cities a lot of hope that otherwise wouldn't have a whole lot of hope because of they're not winning divisions.
Vila caught looking. It'll be a 1-2-3 inning, and Wilson is retired all 5 that he's faced.
Nice swing back fastball here to Avila by Alex Wilson. That's a thing of beauty. Pitch by pitch. JD Martinez got a hit of Shields. 2 balls, no strikes. Last half inning. Bases were loaded. Good fastball right there. Swung right through. Then he goes to ball 3. Gets another good fastball. Fouls that one straight back as well. Finally finishing him off with a really good breaking ball. Nice job of pitching there. You can see every single pitch in that 6th pitch at bat to JD was away from him. Shields pitching out of that jam.
Upton will lead things off here in the bottom of the 6th, 2-1 in favor of the White Sox tonight. It'll be Upton, Saltalamacchia, McGee facing Shields. Justin in the ball game, couple of ground outs, 1 to second, 1 to third. Busted him inside that time, and he did not go on the appeal. 1-1 the count. Well, Wilson, another bang-up job out of that Tigers bullpen, and he's a guy that I think Brad can trust in literally every spot. Here's the 1-1.
Alex did an outstanding job last year for the Tigers, pitching out of the bullpen. Pitched more than he really had ever pitched in his life, especially in the majors. And because of that, got off to a sluggish start in spring training. He left spring a little injured, but when he finally found his groove, he got back to pitching like the Wilson that we watched pitch really well last year. And that's where he's at right now.
Hammer to left field. That ball hit pretty well, and it is going to go out of here.
How short, quick, slick was that swing?
A line drive home run for Justin Upton, and we are tied.
That was a laser.
It barely got off the ground.
It wasn't even full swing.
Strong man.
Country strong.
You said it.
I did say it. Take a look at this. A little slide piece that's just spinning. But look at Ajay up here. I mean, he got through this thing and really didn't have much of a finish. He left the barrel of the bat in the strike zone a long time. Man, is he doing some damage these days.
All of a sudden, Upton now with 18 home runs. And the Tigers have tied this game at 2. th RBI as well for Justin Upton. Saltalamacchia stands in the 0-1 pitch.
This is a line drive out of the ballpark. And this is a big part. You sure it didn't go through that fence?
It might have.
It looked like it went through it.
He hit it so hard.
I had a great conversation with him a couple of days ago, and he was talking about a few of the adjustments that he made about 10 days ago or so that has really just kind of freed up his hands, and you can really see how free his hands were in that last swing that he took against James Shields on that hanging breaking ball. He said prior to that, he said he kept getting himself in a situation, Mario, where his hands just weren't working for him. So he finally figured out something. Finally figured it out, and let's hope he continues this the remainder of the way.
Well, how do you get into ruts like that?
Man, you know, because you're listening to a lot of people, you're searching for answers, you sign the big contract, you start to press. When you add all that up and all that pressure, he just wasn't performing well. But now his mind is free, his hands are free, the body is working the way that it's supposed to, and that's why he has just been doing so much damage lately. That thing barely scooted over the gate.
Yeah, then it pinballed around, but it's out of here, a home run. Meanwhile, 3-2 on Saltalamacchia, and Jared calls time as Shields takes too long.
Well, we told you Shields had been giving up a whole lot of home runs coming into this game here today. That is now 12 homers in his last 20 innings.
Meanwhile, Salty takes strike 3, 1 gone. 5 strikeouts for Shields. Here's Casey McGee. McGee is 0 for 2, strikeout and a flyout. Mentioned Shields has given up at least 2 home runs in each of his last 4 starts. He's now given up 1 here to Upton. He'll spin in there a breaking ball, strike 1 on McGee. Casey fanned in his last at bat. He hit a ball deep to center field his first time up for a long fly ball out. Swing and a miss. 0-2. And is Dan Jennings, the left-hander, heating up now in the White Sox bullpen. Shields is gaining on 100. His will be number 96 coming up. And it sails outside 1-2. McGee swings and strikes out. Again, he chased a breaking ball there from Shields. 2 gone.
Here is the 1-800 call Sam call of the game. It's the first run the Tigers scored today. Single by Ibar. That was through the right side of the infield. Did a beautiful hit and run by Ian Kinsler on a 1-1 count. That got Ibar over to third base. And then Miguel Cabrera comes up and he lost one in the outfield for the sacrifice fly. So the Tigers have manufactured 1 run today. And then Justin Upton with the other run, courtesy of a solo homer.
Yeah, there was no manufacturing there.
No.
It was just a flat out laser over the wall and left. Here's Ibar now with 2 outs. Eric looks at a ball outside. 1-0. Ibar had that single that started the third and eventually came around to score the first run. Here's the 1-0. 2-0 the count on Ibar.
James Shields has kind of pitched away from contact, I guess is the way to describe it here today. A lot of 2-0 counts, a lot of 2-1 counts, 3-0 counts. Just not throwing a lot of strikes here today. But yet, Tigers have only scored 2 runs.
Ground ball first base side for Abreu. Bobbles it. Shields going to have to cover now, and they just get the out at first base. That'll end it for the Tigers here in the 6th. Not before Justin Upton goes deep. Line drive home run. That makes it a 2-2 game. Tigers have tied this one up. It is a 2-2 ball game now. The home run by Justin Upton. As we go to the top of the 7th, Alex Wilson is still out there. He's retired all 5 that he's faced. He's got Saladino here, the number 9 hitter, and then Eaton and Anderson. First one is popped up foul, back out of play. Saladino, big 2-run single in the 4th inning, providing the White Sox with the lead. They have since given up. RBIs 30 and 31 for Saladino. The 0-1 pitch. Swing and a miss.
It's a good cut fastball there, thrown at 88 miles an hour by Wilson. He starts it right down the middle. As a hitter, you see fastball coming out of the hand because it's got fastball spin to it. And all of a sudden, you start your swing, and that ball just kind of disappears on you to the outside corner.
Way outside, 1-2. Saladino playing second base. Brett Laurie's still out of their lineup. He suffered a hamstring problem in a game earlier this year, in fact, against the Tigers. Here's the 1-2. Driven in the air toward left field. Upton is on the run. Still going back. Still going back. He looks up and that ball is gone.
Really, Saladino.
The number 9 hitter, Tyler Saladino, has given the White Sox the lead right back. It's a big night for their number 9 hitter.
Wilson worked so hard to get himself ahead in the count against Saladino. He got ahead, no balls and 2 strikes. Then he threw 1 ball outside. And then he came right back with a 4-seam fastball that was upstairs, and he got way too much plate. And Saladino hit it into his team's bullpen.
Here's Adam Eaton now with a run in, and he'll pound it foul back out of play. Well, Saladino right now is all smiles.
Yeah, he's driven in all 3.
McGee creeping in at third base. Ball inside, 1-1.
It's got to be the mustache, right?
Well, what else could it be? Well, Saladino does have 8 home runs now this year.
Well, maybe it's not the stash.
Maybe not. Here's the 1-1. 2 balls and 1 strike. Eaton a walk in his middle at bat. It's a fly ball and a ground out otherwise. Now Wilson with the 2-1 pitch. Swing and a miss. 2-2. 3 runs on 8 hits now for the White Sox. Tigers 2 runs, 6 hits. Full count, 3-2. Chopper back up the middle. Ibar is there, and Eaton is out. 1 away. We check in now with Johnny Kane.
Yeah, listen, guys, I know we were talking about Tyler Saladino there and giving a little credit there to the stash for some of his success. I'll tell you another thing about it. We already knew that he was using a Bruce Lee-inspired baseball bat. Now in the rotation is a Mr. Miyagi on the knob of his bat there that he's got in there. Remember from the Karate Kid?
I do.
So he's got that rotation going. I asked him about the Fu Manchu. He said, listen, I'm just trying to work with what I've got, trying to differentiate myself a little bit here in the league, and that's tough to do, but I know Mario could pull it off.
He can.
Oh, easy now.
You could.
Thank you, Johnny. I told him that too.
Let's go with it. But yeah, Saladino is good. They got a 9-game hit streak now. But anyway, hey, do you remember? I know, Rod, you're from you're a California guy. Do you remember his uncle, Doug Pineapple Saladino, big skateboarder, pioneer back in the 70s, 80s?
No, I don't remember that.
Google it. Google it.
Doug Pineapple who? Saladino?
Saladino, yeah, Pineapple Saladino is one of the best skaters, man.
Seriously?
You're working way too hard on your birthday today, Johnny Kane.
Take the rest of the day
facts,
off.
man. That's a fact.
All right, man. Thanks. Appreciate it.
All right, boys.
And that's going to be popped up to Cabrera, and they're 2 on. Doug Pineapple Saladino.
Yeah, back in the 70s and 80s, he dropped on me.
It just sounds like he made that up. I'm sure he didn't, but. Oh well. Well, in the meantime, Saladino's home run has given the White Sox the lead.
And he said he was a big-time skateboarder. I didn't think skateboarding really got that popular like the last 15 years or so.
He must think you're like 20 years old or something. 2 gone now. Here is Melky Cabrera. Single walk, strikeout. Ball outside, 1-0.
He may have made the play of the game so far for his team. That ball that was hit to left field when the Tigers were threatening. I think I had a couple of runners aboard with nobody out. Miguel Cabrera hit that ball to the left. He made a nice play on it.
2-0 the count. Walk single and a strikeout for Melky Cabrera. Switch hitter batting left-handed in this at bat against the righty. Matt Boyd started the game through 94 pitches and allowed 2 runs before departing. He needed some help from Wilson, who got a big double play in the 5th. High, and that's ball 3. With Abreu waiting on deck. He's taking ball 4. It's a 2-out walk, which keeps it going for Abreu. And we'll see if Brad wants to make a change here. He's climbing up the steps. And he will make the call to the bullpen. So Wilson throws 37 pitches. It'll be a wall side windows pitching change as Justin Wilson will come on now out of the Tigers bullpen. 3-2 White Sox. Greater coverage of baseball. Here's what's going on around the big leagues. Mookie Betts, a solo home run tonight against Tampa, the 3rd Red Sox player with 30 homers before turning 24 all time.
How about that?
Figure. How about Gary Sanchez, Ron?
You know, I had Justin Upton winning player of the week last week, and he probably would have won it had it not been for this cat right here, Gary Sanchez. I forgot all about him.
Yeah, I did too. He won the Rookie of the Week, and first time to do that in 2 weeks in Major League history. Back-to-back weeks for a rookie.
What's Ichiro doing now?
A 310th career hit tonight, which ties him with Wade Boggs for 27th all time.
How about that? He can even come stateside, man, till he's about 27, 28 years old.
Yeah, 10 years into his career. Justin Wilson coming on.
What do you got on Mookie Betts? Who's your MVP in the American League right now? Is it still Altuve?
Yeah, I'm still going with Altuve, although
it kind of fluctuates, I mean, from week to week with
day
all
to
these
day,
guys,
actually.
you know what I mean? Betts and Big Papi and, you know, just Altuve and Donaldson's trying to sneak back in it. There's so many guys having really good years.
Abreu batting here with 2 outs and a man on. Swing and a miss, man. He was swinging for the downs there.
And I said this a couple days ago. You know who should get some votes?
Who's
that
that?
kid Jose Ramirez for the Cleveland Indians.
Yeah.
What he has done in that offense for that team.
It's been huge.
I mean, he's in top 10 in batting. He's driven in a lot of runs. He hits runners in scoring position. I mean, that's one of them off the board kind of picks, though.
Here's the 1-1. Fouled back out of play. One ball, two strikes. Jose Abreu, 2-out walk by Melky Cabrera. Signaled the end for Alex Wilson, who threw a season high in pitches, 37. And the 1-2. Line drive, right field line, fair ball. Going to go up to the corner as JD digs it out. They're going to bring the runner to third and stop him there. Wide turn by Melky Cabrera, but he'll stop. It'll be a double for Abreu, and it's second and third.
That's why Abreu draws so many comparisons to Miguel Cabrera with his 29th double of the year with 2 strikes. He is no longer the aggressor. He is basically taking what you give him. And if you show him you're not going to come inside and you're going to go away, he will simply take that ball and hit it down the right field line by creating the bat angle to do so. Miggy does that very well himself.
And Saladino likes it. That'll bring up Todd Frazier now. I can't keep up with all these hand gestures.
I cannot either, man. They got so many.
Frazier looks at a strike, 0-1. He is an 0 for 3 night going. Fly ball, ground out. It was the 9th hit of the game now for the White Sox. They lead 3-2, threatening for more. Frazier swings and misses, 0-2. Frazier came in batting just 143 this year against Tigers pitching, and another 0 for 3 going tonight. See if Wilson can finish him off. Got him, strike 3. Frazier is caught looking on a strike at the top of the strike zone. And that will end the inning. They get a run on the home run by Saladino. Coming up, the McLaren Health Plan 7th inning stretch. Summary with the White Sox ahead now 3-2. Saladino has knocked in all of their runs, 3 of them tonight with a solo homer. He put them ahead 3-2. Shields 5 innings, 5 hits. He struck out 4. Matt Boyd went 4+ in this game, allowing 2 earned runs and struck out 3. His pitch count just got too high, and that finally got him out of the ball game. But there's Saladino, who has been responsible for all 3 of the White Sox runs. Now Dan Jennings comes in to pitch for the White Sox.
And Jennings has a fastball that gets up to about 91 miles an hour. He also throws a slider about 5% of the time. He has a curveball and a changeup, so he has all 4 pitches. Real good numbers this year for Jennings. A 1.88 ERA, pitching in his 52nd game this season.
Tyler Collins gets his first at bat after taking over for Cameron Maybin. Cam left the game with a left thumb contusion, they tell us. X-rays were negative. That's good news. And Collins looks at a strike, 0-1. Maybin day to day. Here's the 0-1. Swing and a miss. 0-2 on Tyler Collins.
How about James Shields able to maneuver his way through 6 innings here today? 6 innings, 6 hits he gave up. He walked 3. He did strike out 6 and gave up just 2 runs.
In and out of trouble most of the night, but the veteran pitcher was able to wiggle out of some jams. And
that's exactly what he did.
now the Tigers forced to come back against the Sox bullpen. The 0-2, and Collins takes low and away. Tyler had a pinch hit home run in the 9th inning of a game in Chicago back on July the 24th. It came in the 9th inning. The Tigers hit 3 homers in that inning to tie it up, but they would eventually lose in the bottom of the 9th.
They hit all those off of their closer, didn't they?
Robertson. Yeah, Salty had one, Collins had one. I think Castellanos hit the first one.
2 of them were pinch hit homers, right?
Right. The Collins and Saltalamacchia homers were pinch hitters.
We can use a little bit of that magic here tonight.
One ball, 2 strikes. Kinsler on deck, and then Cabrera. Swing and a miss. Collins with a big rip goes down on strikes. 1 gone.
This is why Collins in the game in the 5th inning on 3-1 count. Maybin took off, and with that bad thumb, the left knee of Saladino just came right down on that knee, and Maybin slid right into that left knee, and he got up and he was in considerable pain. And they thought it was better to get him out of the game, and there's no doubt that was the best move. Even when he was swinging the bat, we could tell that he was just not comfortable.
So Jennings comes on, does his job, gets the 1 out. Back to the bullpen they go, and we'll be back.
bat. So we told you he pitched 6 innings, gave up a few hits. He walked 3, and he had 6 strikeouts. And he just kind of weaved in and out of traffic. Every time he got himself in a jam, he was able to get that big strikeout that he desperately needed. Biggest play of the game for me was off the bat of Miguel Cabrera, sinking line drive, and that Melky Cabrera was able to make that play, saved at least 1 run, maybe 2 runs, but wasn't great today. But at the end of the day, all that matters is he left his team in a real good position.
Well, Tommy Kahnle comes on now out of the bullpen for the White Sox.
And Kahnle pitching in his 18th game with an ERA that sits a shade under 4 at 3.78. The whip is rather high, almost 2 base runners per inning for Kahnle.
He'll have to do some heavy lifting now as Kinsler stands in there. Then it's going to be Cabrera. Kahnle averaging almost 9 strikeouts per 9.
He throws hard. Fastball gets all the way up to 97 miles an hour.
2-0.
He'll also throw you a nice breaking ball. That would be a slider and also a changeup. No cutter, no curve.
Originally a 5th rounder for the Yankees. He's pitched in Colorado and now Chicago. 2-0 goes all the way to the backstop, and it's 3-0 on Kinsler. That'll bring Avila out to the mound. Tigers only down by 1 here in the 7th. 1 out, nobody on. Don Cooper says, I don't know what happened that last pitch.
Don't ask me.
I didn't tell him to do that. 3-9-1 on the scoreboard for the White Sox. 2-6-0 for the Tigers. Here's the 3-0. It's right down the middle. Jennings came on, got the first batter, the lefty Collins. You got Miggy lurking on deck. And he lost it, ball 4. Tying run is on. Hey, join the fight to end childhood cancer on September 9. Tigers take on the Orioles at 7:10. Special ticket packages include a t-shirt and a donation to pediatric cancer research, and services are available exclusively at tigers.com/children. Tigers.com/children. Now with 1 on, 1 out, here comes Don Cooper. Got Miguel Cabrera coming up. And more action to the bullpen. The right-hander warming up. That is Chris Beck. What do you think Cooper's got for Kahnle here?
Well, he's going to refresh him on the scouting report for sure against Miguel. There's really no way to get Miggy out. If they're going to pitch to Miguel Cabrera, he probably told him to throw Miggy aggressively inside. We've already talked about Miguel the last couple of days. He's the best breaking ball hitter in the major leagues. That would be either league. His batting average is the highest. So I'd be shocked if he threw him a lot of breaking balls in the zone.
Cabrera had a sac fly in the 3rd, hit a bullet his last time up that Melky Cabrera made a fine play on in left field. And Miggy looks at a ball that bends high, 1-0.
If you're thinking a possible steal for Ian Kinsler, nearly impossible to steal against Kahnle. I mean, you saw that slide step right there. He's getting the ball to home plate in less than 1 second.
Tigers down 3-2. We're in the 7th. 1 on, 1 out.
Here comes that piece of cheese at 96.
Way outside, 2-0. Kahnle has come out of the bullpen and has struggled with the strike zone. Infield slightly to pull on Miguel. Here's the 2-0. Cabrera now with 81 RBIs.
Yeah, they're playing him pretty much straight up the middle, and then they're kind of bunching him in the outfield. And Eaton is just on the second base side in center field, and then you see the right fielder. That would be Garcia. He's kind of bunching Miggy into that area where Miggy hits a lot of balls out toward the out-of-town scoreboard. A lot of room down the right field line for Miggy. That would score Ian Kinsler if he was able to slice one down in that direction.
Souvenir right side. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
This is what I love about Miggy, Mario, is when there's a guy that has a good fastball, and Canely would qualify as a plus fastball. This is 96, but look at the approach. He's not trying to pull that ball. Look at how deep the ball is in the strike zone and where the head is. The head doesn't move at all, and he's trying to drive that ball into the right center field gap. He's not trying to pull a 96-mile-per-hour fastball.
That was a great shot right there to illustrate that.
And don't hang that breaking ball.
High fly ball in the air toward left field, not deep. Cabrera calling for it, and Miguel is out. Melky makes the catch, 2 gone.
Let's take a look at how Canely attacked one of the best hitters in the sport. He falls behind Miguel Cabrera. 2 balls, no strikes. First pitch breaking ball, second pitch fastball. And Miggy fouls this one straight back. Outstanding swing. Then he does it again. And then he crowds him with a fastball inside. And that's how you get Miguel out. Eventually, if you want to get him out, you've got to go in that area where Canely was able to tie him up at.
And it appears that Canely is going to be done. So back to the bullpen they go. Beck will come in, and we'll be back. Well, it's a big game coming up on Wednesday. It's going to be a Chris Sale, Justin Verlander matchup, and Ron, that's about as good as it gets.
You're absolutely right, man. And as we speak, both of these guys are very much in the Cy Young conversation in the American League. Sale 15-7. Verlander's won 14. He's lost 7. Both guys have respectable ERAs. They strike out a bunch, and their whips are awfully low. And when they go out there, both guys give their teams legitimate chances of winning games.
So here is Victor Martinez now with the man at first and 2 outs. Vimar to the ball game, single walk and a ground out. And he sends a ground ball to the right side, right into the shift and right to Saladino, who's going to throw him out. 1 pitch is all it took. Tigers get a walk but strand a man. 7 in the books. Tigers baseball presented by Bell Tire. Orioles, Boston, and Toronto. Right now, that's how they shape up in the East, with Toronto on top, Cleveland in the Central, Texas in the West. But it's a wild card that is getting really interesting.
There's quite a few teams there. Detroit right there trying to chase down Baltimore. The Houston Astros are there. Kansas City Royals as well, and the Seattle Mariners. Man, is the final month of the season going to be very exciting.
Baltimore lost their game tonight, so the Tigers can pull to within 1 if they can win this game this evening. And now the White Sox come to the plate here in the 8th. It'll be Justin Morneau to lead it off against Justin Wilson. Morneau, Garcia, and Avila. And it's a ball outside. They want the appeal on the check, but he didn't go. That's Ted Barrett down there at third. Morneau has a ground ball in all 3 at bats. The 1-0 pitch outside, 2-0. Toronto beat Baltimore tonight 5-1, so the Orioles lose again. They have not been playing like they were about a month ago. The 2-0 pitch. Souvenir left side. 2 balls and 1 strike. Two and 1 on Morneau. Slicing one toward left field. Justin Upton is on the move. 1 away here in the 8th. That'll bring up Garcia, who singled and scored a run in the 4th. And for Garcia, just a continuation of the damage he has done against the Tigers, his former team. Batting average came in at .248. 10 home runs this year. Swing and a miss.
Well, for the White Sox, you really have to find out what kind of player Garcia is going to be down the stretch in the 2016 season. I mean, I think they've felt like all along that he should be ahead of where he is right now. But he always shows you a lot of promise, Mario, as he has done in the last couple of weeks, hitting home runs, driving balls into the gap. So they want to see exactly what they have moving forward. Will he be their starting right fielder next year?
Skills are enticing, aren't they, with this guy?
For sure they are.
Big guy, runs well. The 1-1 pitch. Driven down the right field line, foul.
He's got power. He's got 10 homers this year. He's driven in 40.
Not a whole lot of time with the Tigers. 2012, 2013, hit .269. Also played in the postseason with the Tigers as a very young player. Little chopper to the shortstop, Ibar ranging left. And Garcia hustling down the line is beaten by a step. 2 gone. By the way, follow Tigers baseball live with the MLB.com at bat app. Stay up to the moment at any moment with game day, live game video highlights, StatCast news, and more. Download MLB.com at bat, the #1 app for live baseball on your phone or tablets. With 2 outs, here is Alex Avila. Single and 3 at bats for Avila. Straighten him up. The 1-0 pitch is outside. 2-0 now on Avila. Tigers got a run in the third. The Sox scored 2 in the fourth. Tigers tied it up in the sixth. And then Chicago went ahead in the seventh. Tigers tonight have been out hit 9-6. Swing and a miss. 2-1. Avila had a rip.
And good fastball there right over the top, thrown by Justin Wilson at 91 miles an hour. He can get all the way up to 97, but usually he's right around 94, 95. And going inside with the fastball this time.
Missed it outside. 3-1. You got Saladino waiting on deck. Should Avila reach? He's already done enough damage tonight. Each ball club tonight has left 8 men on base. Here's the 3-1. Full count, 3-2. Alex Wilson came on in the 5th inning and threw a double play ball to Abreu, and then it got a ground out from Frazier, then a 1-2-3 6th before he needed help in the 7th from Justin Wilson. And he lost him, ball 4 to Avila.
Well, Saladino has driven in all the White Sox runs here today. He came up earlier in the game. It was a fastball that was in a fastball-friendly count, 2-0. He whistled it right back through the middle. That was against the starter, Matt Boyd. And then his last time up, he got himself in a count where he was behind 0-2. Count went to 1-2. Fastball upstairs, didn't miss it, and drove in the 3rd run of the game for his team. And apparently we've got word on social media that Johnny Kane was telling the truth, Mario.
Really?
There is a pineapple Saladino, and he is a skateboarding pioneer. So there you have it. Johnny Kane was doing extra work today.
His uncle, Doug Pineapple Saladino. Who knew?
Hey, Johnny Kane knew.
Johnny Kane knew, that's right. Well, you're from Cali. You should have known that.
No, I don't know about that.
So with 2 outs, here is Saladino. He's done a nice job of filling in for Brett Laurie, who has a hamstring problem. He's been out of their lineup.
Early in the year, he was pretty much splitting time. That would be Saladino with Jimmy Rollins, the veteran Jimmy Rollins, who they released. And then that job went to the youngster Anderson when they called him up. And so Saladino was playing some third, occasionally some second, but when Laurie went down, he has become their everyday second baseman.
You know, I almost forgot they had Jimmy Rollins in their lineup.
Yeah, they
so
did.
long.
Yeah.
1 ball and 1 strike. Three to 2, White Sox lead. 1 on, 2 out. They walk to Avila. Here's the 1-1. Fly ball right field. That'll send JD back a couple of steps. And the inning is over. No runs, a walk, and 1 man left. Going to the bottom of the 8th. Justin Upton up second, and he already has homered in this game. 3-2 Chicago. inning, 3-2 is our score. White Sox have the lead in game 1 in this series. They've gone right back to the bullpen. The hard-throwing right-hander Nate Jones coming on to pitch.
Well, Jones has a fastball that gets up to 97, 98, on occasion 99 miles an hour. His overall numbers this year outstanding. And the ERA is under 2.5, and the WHIP is under 1. 67 strikeouts, just 13 walks. So better than a strikeout per inning as well for Jones.
JD Martinez, Justin Upton, and Jared Saltalamacchia due up here in the bottom of the 8th. One-run game.
Mostly fastballs and sliders from Jones. He does list a couple of other pitches. That would be the curve and the changeup, but does not throw those very often.
0-1 the count on JD Martinez. Double and 2 strikeouts in this game. And JD looks at the ball inside, and the count goes 1-1. Jones is tied for first in games pitched this year at 61, so they've leaned on him a lot. He'll be over 70 and might be approaching 80 before the season is over. Second in holes as well with 26. Whistled foul, back out of play, 1-2.
That fastball at 98 miles an hour by Jones.
Well, you said he threw hard.
Robert Ventura used 3 pitchers in the bottom half of the 7th to each get 1 out. And now he's gone here in the 8th inning with Jones. So if he gets him out, that'll be 4 pitchers to get 4 outs.
David Robertson, their closer. Jones with the 2-2 and a breaker. Didn't go after it. 3 balls, 2 strikes now on JD.
They have been giving Martinez a lot of breaking balls in this particular game here tonight. He's done a lot of damage against them in his career. That would be the White Sox.
Well, Shields struck him out on a breaking ball, a 3-2 breaking ball with the bases loaded in the 5th.
And Jones has got 98.
And he walked him. Leadoff man on.
Let's take a look at the big boy, big play of the game. And JF most definitely has had his big boy pants on lately. In the 6th inning against James Shields, he got himself a little crippled breaking ball that he simply hit right over the wall. It was a laser, probably didn't get 10 feet off the ground. He's been really punishing the baseball lately. That would be Justin.
18th home run for Upton. Tying run on now for the Tigers here in the 8th. Check swing foul, 0-1. Jones not messing around again at 98.
Well, you wonder if Brad's thinking about a pinch hitter, possibly. Pinch runner, excuse me, possibly for Martinez, maybe once he gets to second base. Obviously not going to do it here, but they do have a couple of guys on their bench that have some pretty good speed. One would be Iglesias, and the other would be Andrew Romine.
Again, the gas at 98, threw it by him, 0-2.
Yeah, JF's going to have to cut that swing down. You cannot take big swings against a guy that throws 98 miles an hour. I think Romine's getting ready, getting his helmet, just in case. And when Martinez gets to second base.
That is Romine's ritual late in games that he's not playing in. If there's anybody on base, he's right next to Brad. He wants to go pitch a run. Here's the 0-2, and he got him, strike 3.
Ooh, man, you can't do much with that.
Now 98 caught the corner.
98
gone. Painted
on the black. You just really can't do a whole lot with it.
I guess the only thing you can do is just try and spoil this thing.
Yeah, and Avila even pulled it back a little bit because he wasn't quite sure whether they would have gotten the call from Lance Barksdale, but it had plenty of plate.
Here is Saltalamacchia. Ball 1. White Sox now have their closer warming up, David Robertson.
He may throw the softest of any of them guys that we've seen.
I was about to say the same
Coming
thing.
out of that bullpen.
This guy's chucking it at 98. There's a swing and a drive deep into right field. Garcia back to the track, to the wall, and gone! Saltalamacchia, a two-run shot, and the Tigers have the lead. Sometimes it doesn't matter how hard you throw. Tigers have the lead.
Man, has Saltalamacchia got some huge hits for the Tigers this year. A lot of homers have either tied games or put them in the lead.
There's a bouncing ball to third base on the charge. Frazier. And McGee is out. 2 gone.
Nate Jones throwing 96, 98, 99 miles an hour. And Saltalamacchia, boy, did he time him perfectly. He got that front foot up, got it back down. And then he rotated with that backside. That got the bat into the hitting zone. And he caught it just right with that classic uppercut swing. It stayed up so high, we weren't sure whether it was going to get out or not.
No, and he hit it to the deepest part to right center field. We had to wait and see.
Look at the bench.
And it went, it left, and Saltalamacchia with yet another gargantuan home run this year. There's a strike called on Ibar. 4-3, the Tigers have the lead. It's unreal how many big ones he's hit.
Huge home runs, man. Huge home runs.
Chopper to third base. Right there is Frazier. That'll end the inning, but not before the Tigers have gone out on top. 2-run shot for Saltalamacchia. And the Tigers have their first lead. All right, Justin, thanks. K-Rod, Francisco Rodriguez is on now. The Tigers have the lead 4-3 as we go to the 9th inning, and K-Rod facing the top of the lineup. And Eaton swings and misses. Now it's 0-2. Two-run shot by Jared Saltalamacchia in the bottom of the 8th has given the Tigers the lead. And now K-Rod trying to close it out. Eaton's been on base once tonight via a walk. Bouncing ball to second. That'll be routine there for Kinsler. One gone. Now Tim Anderson. Anderson is 2 out of 4, a couple of singles. K-Rod in search of his 37th save of the year. Ball 1. Five-game hitting streak now for Anderson with his 2 singles this evening. That's ball 2 outside. Melky Cabrera waiting on deck. Here's the 2-0. Swing and a miss. 2-1 on Anderson.
Everything that Rodriguez has thrown so far to the youngster Anderson has been away from him. That's one of the things that Rodriguez is a master at. He does not give in. And regardless of the count, he is going to try to pitch to your weakness.
Bill toward left field. Upton is on the move. He'll get to the warning track to make the catch. Ooh, Frankie looking out there like, whoa. 2 gone. Here's the upcoming matchup presented by Gordon Chevrolet. Anthony Renato tomorrow facing Daniel Norris in game 2.
Looking forward to watching Daniel Norris go out there again. Looks like he's finally hit his stride. He comes in 2-2 with an outstanding ERA at 3.63, 29 strikeouts, and 11 walks.
Now the crowd to its feet. Melky Cabrera, the last hurdle here. And he looks at a strike, 0-1. Cabrera has walked twice, has singled. He's trying to get it to Abreu, who's waiting on deck.
We don't want to go that far.
I prefer not to. The 0-1. High towering drive to right field. Martinez going back, still going back to the wall, and Collins makes the catch to end the ball game.
What a game by the Tigers here today. Good pitching, good relief pitching, and some timely hitting.
And a 1-2-3 9th inning, despite a couple of long fly balls. Frankie Rodriguez nails it shut. A comeback win for the Tigers on the home run in the 8th by Saltalamacchia. And there's your final 4-3. We'll be back to Comerica Park.